A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Arabia today spells trouble and oil, and the political ambitions of Nasser, Bourguiba, Hussein, and Ibn Saud. But behind this tapestry of terror, beyond this arras of ambition, men still struggle for less public and more personal goals, such as a pretty woman. Of such a struggle is our story concerned, a story fully caparisoned with Burmese natives, desert sheep, and captive damsels. Listen then as Frank Lovejoy stars in Affair at Aden.
I lay flat on the ridge back of the rocks and watched the Arab guards a quarter-mile down the slope below me as they lounged in front of the gate of Fahad's tribal fort. Before dark, I had to be past those guards and inside that gate. I had to find Best Bashara. I watched the sun sink lower near the horizon now. In 20 minutes, I would try to enter the fort. The shadows would be longer then, more deceptive, and the guards might not recognize me. The Madrak, the evening breeze of Saudi Arabia, was springing up and the air was cool. I thought of Aden on the coast 80 miles behind me, safe and secure, with its paved streets, electricity, American automobiles, and British police. I thought of the commissioner and the way it had all started, late the night before. Commissioner! Mr. Crawley! Commissioner! John Bradley, geologist for the oil company.
Bradley?
We've met at the Foreign Club. Open up, Commissioner. I've got to talk to you.
Bit of an odd hour for talking over.
I know. I'm sorry to bother you, but something's happened.
Well, yes, I do recall meeting you. You're that American chap. What can I do for you?
Commissioner, a girl was kidnapped an hour ago, taken from her room by a gang of Arabs and
Girl? What girl?
Her name is Best Bashara.
Oh, an Arab girl.
Yes, you probably wouldn't know her. She was graduated from the American University in Beirut 3 months ago and came here to work for the oil company. About an hour ago, she was kidnapped.
Yes, go on.
Well, her roommate just told me about it. They locked the roommate in the closet when they took Best. She just now managed to get out.
Tell me, Mr.
Bradley.
Oh, yes, Bradley.
Who are they? Some of the Idrisi tribe, according to Best's roommate from back in the hill country. They were led by Sheikh Fahad.
Fahad? Oh, yes, he's Hussein Agra's son. He has a fort or a stronghold of some kind in the Jebel Radin Pass, about 80 miles back in the hill country.
Yes, I know where it is.
Well, this Fahad's a young chap, educated at Oxford, strict Muslim, quite a decent fellow. You can rest easy, Mr. Bradley. There's nothing to concern yourself about.
Look, didn't you hear me? I said he kidnapped a girl. He's taking her back into the hills right now.
Quite so, in the custom of the country. No tradition, marriage by capture, or a pretense of capture. No doubt the girl was quite willing, actually.
This wasn't any pretense. She was kidnapped.
No.
Commissioner, Beth and I are engaged to be married.
Really?
Yes, I'm through here. I'm sailing for home next week, and she's going with me.
And, may I ask how long you've known her?
Well, 2 months. But
exactly. And as a man of the world, may I point out that young ladies are often prone to change their minds in matters of affection? So I hardly think that...
Look, do I understand that you're not going to do anything about this?
There's not much I can do, you know?
All right, I'll do it myself.
But do what?
I'm going into the Jebel Radin Hills, find her and bring her back.
I strongly advise against it.
For what reason?
He's a tribal chief, you know, hundreds of followers. He might make it a bit sticky for you.
That's my problem. Don't worry about it. Sorry to have bothered you, Commissioner.
No, not at all, old boy. Always glad to...
Thanks for your help.
Impetuous fellow. Desmond, was it? Desmond? Oh, well.
shadows from the dying sun were growing longer now. Dusk was creeping in over the desert, but the hilltop still caught the last flat rays of light. My horse, tied back at the ridge, stamped impatiently. The guards were moving about restlessly, their rifles slung on their backs. I pulled the Bernose closer about me, finding it awkward and uncomfortable, not being used to native dress. But more uncomfortable were my thoughts. For I realized for the first time since I left Aden that I might be making a complete fool of myself. The commissioner might be right. I remembered the last time I'd seen Bess. It was 2 nights before in the palm garden near my quarters, by the wall of the Mosque of the Shepherds.
It is always so warm here at night. When the heat comes, it was different.
It's like this in Arizona in the summertime.
Arizona. Tell me about it.
Oh, it's a wonderful country. You'll like Arizona.
But will Arizona like me? That is important, too.
Oh, sweetheart. Nobody could spend 10 minutes around you and not like you. That's how long it took me.
You are so beautiful, Johnny.
Beautiful?
Because you make me feel beautiful inside. Like when I hear camel bells ringing far off in the distance. Or come to an oasis late at night, see the fires where the people are camping, and hear them singing in the dark. It all seems so long ago. Everything is different now.
Why?
No woman of my tribe ever went to school before, Johnny. I'm different. I hear the caravans of a stranger here, son. In a few days, I will go with you to live with strangers on the other side of the world.
You scared?
Yes, little perhaps. Sometimes I wake up at night and I smell the desert in the wind. The old wind dies very hard. Hold me, Johnny, hold me tight.
Oh, I intend to, from now on. For always.
Johnny?
You're trembling. What's the matter?
Something happened this morning in the bazaar. I saw a person I had not seen for many years. I spoke of the Idrisi, a man named Fahad.
So?
He had been away in the hill country. He did not know I'd come back to Aden. Johnny, I was promised to him.
What do you mean?
Arrangements were made by his fathers when I was 10 years old. Such things are done in the tribes.
Well, did you tell him? I mean, about us.
I was too frightened to say anything. He called me little bride. Then he laughed and he rode on with his name.
Well, that's nothing to be frightened about.
Johnny, you do not understand. The men of my people are different. The woman does not have the same rights, the privileges.
Well, in a week, you'll have all the rights and privileges of an American wife.
Oh, Johnny. Hold me. Hold me tight and don't ever let me go.
The sun was below the horizon now. The hills lay in shadow. 10 more minutes, it would be dark. Fool or not, win or lose, the chips were down. It was time to go. It was time to go. I mounted my horse, pulled my headcloth up to hide my face, reached inside my robe and took out the roll of parchment scroll with its long crimson streamers of silk, the mark of the desert courier. My whole plan depended upon getting into the fort without being stopped outside by the guards. After that, I'd take my chances. I dug my spurs into the horse's side and holding the scroll above my head with the streamers trailing out behind me on the wind, I rode down the slope at a full gallop. The guards heard me coming, swung their rifles off their back and held them ready. I spurred the horse and headed straight toward the gate. Miss now! Up to them! Then at the last moment, 2 of the guards swung the gate open and I rode into the courtyard. The guards followed me in, closed the gate behind me. Then another man came striding across the court, and the guard salaamed. I'm afraid he's mistaken. I'm not a dispatch rider.
An Englishman?
No, an American. Bradley is the name.
Bradley? Oh, yes.
I want to see Beth Tashara.
Indeed. So simple, huh? Exactly as though you were at home in your own country, where everything is nice and safe. You are a fool, Mr. Bradley.
So I've been told.
I am the Sheikh Fahad. This is my district, the country of the Idrisi. My word here is law. The only law there is. Do you understand?
Well, not quite the only law. You're a Muslim. The Quran is your law. I rode in here of my own free will. Your men didn't bring me in as a prisoner. I claim the right of hospitality to strangers, as commanded in the Quran.
Uh-huh. Very clever, Mr. Bradley. But I doubt you will gain anything by your sophistry. You must know also that the Quran puts a time limit on such hospitality.
Yes, I know.
3 days, after which a guest may be treated according to the host's pleasure. And I may as well inform you that I have some rather unusual ideas of pleasure. Meanwhile, welcome, Mr. Bradley.
The guard took me to a suite of rooms lavishly furnished and left me alone. I stood at the window for a long time, looking out at the desert night. The distant ridges, black and pale silver in the moonlight. I knew Beth was somewhere in the fort, and I had to find her and talk to her. Just a minute. What do you want?
I'll say you come.
Come where?
You come now.
All right. Let's go. Well, did I have a choice?
Well, naturally. Dinner is never a compulsory affair for a guest. Of course, I could have arranged something more elaborate if I had known you were coming.
If you'd known I was coming, I wouldn't be sitting here now.
That is quite possible. Although the more I consider it, the more the situation intrigues me.
Now, look, you know as well as I do this.
Relax. You Americans are so headstrong. The British I can understand. But I confess I find you chaps a bit unpredictable. Even irrational, you might say. Amusing, however.
All right, we're real clowns.
Of course, it is possible you may not be a typical specimen. Every country has its fair share of rash fools. But somehow here comes our other guest. There. I imagine it may be a bit of a surprise to her. Good evening, my dear. Won't you join us?
I already told you.
You all right, Beth?
Yes, I suppose I've come here.
I shouldn't.
You're not being very hospitable, my dear. And Mr. Bradley has, I might say, demanded my hospitality by taking advantage of a passage of the Quran which was written, I'm inclined to suspect, in one of the Prophet's less inspired moments. However, inshallah, so be it, for the traditional 3 days. Afterwards, that will depend on my disposition at the moment. Tell him about our plans, my dear.
What plans, Beth? What is he talking about?
You will have to forgive her. The natural modesty of a young girl in love. Beth and I are being married tomorrow. A lovely addition to my household, don't you think so, Mr. Bradley? I find her completely fascinating. Of course, I will have to compromise a bit with tradition, I imagine. Beth would hardly be satisfied with all the old ways. But since she, too, is willing to compromise... Well, my dear?
Is it true, Beth? Well, are you going to marry him? Are you?
Please. I'm sorry, Dooley. I should not have come here. Going back to my quarters. Don't feel very well.
Steph, wait. I want to talk to you.
I said I was sorry, Johnny. There is nothing more to say. I told you. The desert ways die hard. Go back to Aiden. Forget about me. Goodbye, Johnny.
I paced the floor of my quarters, cursing myself for being fool enough to come. It was after midnight by now. The fort was dark and silent. I'd gotten in safely. Now to get out. I moved quietly to the door and listened. There was no sound outside. I turned the handle slowly. The door opened, and there in the corridor stood a veiled woman.
You are very foolish, Mr. Bradley.
Everybody is telling me that. Should I know you?
No, I am Tara Daliti, wife of Fahad.
Wife?
He is at present his only wife, and I would prefer it to remain so.
Sorry, I'm out of it. Better go talk to Beth to Charlotte.
Why?
I've got nothing to do with it now. If that's what she wants, it's her business.
What she wants. Did Fahad ask what she wanted?
What do you mean?
Or is it so different in your country, Mr. Bradley? Can any woman be sure what she wants unless some man tells her and then proves it?
So?
If I help you escape from here tonight, will you take Beth to Shaha with you and keep her with you?
It might not be so easy. She may not want to go.
What she wants. What do you want, Mr. Bradley?
All right. You've got a deal. "20 minutes later, I was outside the fort, waiting in a dark grove of olives with 2 horses tied nearby, watching a tiny door in the high stone wall. 10 more minutes passed. I started to get uneasy. Tara seemed to know what she was doing, but with Beth, I figured she'd have her hands full. Then the door opened. 2 figures in white stood for a moment in the dark entrance. Then one of them hurried toward me. The door closed. I stepped from behind the tree. Beth. Over here. Hurry.
There's really no need to hurry, Mr. Bradley. None of us is going anywhere. Tara really shouldn't have encouraged you to wander around in the night air this way, my dear. Your hands, Mr. Bradley. Put them up, please.
I can't argue with a gun.
Mm-hmm. Very wise of you. Especially since you've seen fit to forsake my hospitality. You see, I'm no longer obliged to treat you as a guest.
What are you going to do, Fahad?
What would you do, Mr. Bradley, with a man who took advantage of your generous nature and attempted to plunder you of your most prized possession, who pretended to... Stop, what are you doing?
Just this. All right, go ahead and shoot if you want to kill Beth.
Oh, a sample of American chivalry?
No, common sense. For added precaution, I'm holding my own gun in her back. Don't come any closer.
He's not lying, Fahad. He's crazy enough to do it.
I'll admit I'm at somewhat of a loss, Mr. Bradley. What are you going to do?
I'm leaving here on those horses. I'm taking Beth with me. You try to stop us, I'll kill her.
And gain what?
Nothing, but I won't lose anything either. You've never intended to let me leave here alive. At least I'll take her with me one way or another.
You must be insane.
Also practical. Because you'll never convince her people that you didn't kill her. I know what a blood feud means in this desert. So do you. Now, do you want one on your hands? Or do you turn around and walk back to that fort and let us go?
I think perhaps you're mad enough to do it.
I'm mad. Plenty mad. All right, make up your mind.
Well, there are, after all, a rather large number of women in this world. But a man has only one life. And
If he's sensible, he prefers to keep it as peaceful as possible. Good night, Mr. Bradley.
Miles away, certain finally that we weren't being followed, we pulled the horses to a stop. Want to rest a few minutes?
Yes.
There you go. I'll give you a hand down.
I'm not used to it. There was a time when I could ride all day.
Oh? I thought you said the old ways of the desert stayed with a person. They died hard.
Johnny, I only said that because...
Look, I didn't ask you if you wanted to go back to Aden. Nevertheless, I'm taking you there. After that, you're on your own.
Oh, Johnny, you are such a fool.
Well, you too,
I only said what I did tonight because of you. If I had not agreed to marry him, my heart would have had to strangle before morning.
Because of me?
I love you, Johnny. So much so that I would rather you had shot me back there when you threatened than to leave me with him.
Come here, darling.
Johnny.
You know something, honey? I couldn't have shot you. I didn't have a gun.
Young lady, no monkey business. You try to yell and I'll cut off your wind for good. You two, you and Peck have caused me a deal of trouble. You shouldn't have done that.
How did you find it?
The left arm never fails. Where's Peck?
I don't know.
I'll wait for him here. He's sure to return for you.
I had to get to Alec. I had to warn him. The bathroom door was open. Smith was holding my arm. For a moment, he relaxed his grip. I swung away from him and threw myself into the bathroom, pulling the door shut and locking it. I expected him to shoot through the door, and I ran to the window, ready to jump. But it wasn't necessary. There was a rickety fire escape. I crawled through and ran down the shaky stairs, dropped 6 feet to the mud, and ran around the corner of the building, toward the old-timers' kangaroo court on the corner. And there was Smith coming toward me through the crowd. He reached his hand out.
Well, sir,
I rolled around and shouldered my way through the crowd to the table where the announcer was sitting at his microphone.
Mr. Tatum, just goes to show you don't raise the bid, you pay a fine. What's that fine, Judge?
$5. Suspended for the president of the bank. Well, Mr. Tatum, I tried to be easy on you, but the jury of your peers...
Please help me.
Oh, hello there, miss.
Give me your microphone.
Now, just a minute, miss. You can't interrupt the proceedings.
Please, it's a matter of life or death.
Well, now, just...
Alex, stay where you are. They found me. Again, Smith came for me. He and the big man with the beard. And then a tawny streak tore through the crowd. Torso. He heard my voice. He ripped the big man's leg. He jumped for Smith's throat. Before he reached it, the man with the beard pulled out a revolver.
What's going on here? What is that?
And Torso lay there quiet.
Mad dog! Mad dog!
I tried to bend over him, but I knew it was no use. He was dead. And Smith had me now, holding me.
I told her that dog was sick. Your dog? Yes. To see how you think my wife cared more for the dog than she did for me. I told her a dozen times that dog was sick.
Let me go. I'm not your wife. Listen to me, please. You people. This man is a spy. A monster. He's trying to kill me.
Listen to her. Go on, folks. Listen to her. Drunk. Dead drunk. Such a thing about your own husband. Now, I declare. Now, I'm going to take you on home to the ranch and put you to bed. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Now, wait a minute there. Just a minute.
What?
Maybe you don't know, but I'm the county veterinarian, and you can't leave that dog dead in the street. According to law, we got to make an examination of any dog, dead or alive, suspected of rabies. Now, you get that dog in the police wagon.
But my wife...
I don't care about your wife. She wasn't bit. You say you own that dog? Well, your friend here was bit in the leg, and you was scratched on the arm. Now, you get that dog in the wagon, and you follow him.
Now, look here.
Now, you look here. That's the law. Now, get. Or do you want a little help from the rest of these good citizens?
Smith loosened his grip. I turned and edged through the crowd, which was moving in on him and the bearded drunk. I got to the fringe, to the open street, and ran toward the car. And there, coming toward me, was Alex, coming from the pawn shop. Alex alive. Oh, limping but alive. Alex! Alex, oh, my dear.
Get in the car, quick.
Torkel. They killed Torkel.
Get in. You tell me about it later. We've got to get away from here.
Smith said he was a mad dog. They're holding him. They said he'd have to have a rabies test because he was bitten.
Good. We'll call the FBI from the next town. I've got enough for the watch to buy gas to get us to Seattle. Did you reach Charles?
No, Smith got into the room. He hit me.
No, you tell me about it later. Now, slow down. Here's the highway sign. San Francisco left. Ah, there we are. Seattle right turn. Hey, I said right.
You said San Francisco left.
Yes, but...
We're not going to Seattle.
Then what about Charles?
Who's Charles?
But I only got $20 for the watch.
I think I can get a little more for the car in San Francisco.
Hey.
Go to sleep, darling. You must be worn out. I don't know why I gave him a lift that day, but I'm awfully glad I did.
Suspense, in which Miss Barbara Whiting starred in The Rim of Terror, adapted for radio's outstanding theater of thrills by William N. Robeson, from the novel by Hildegard Teilhett. Listen. Listen again next week when we return with another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense. Ben Wright supported Miss Whiting as Alex. Others in the cast included Joe DeSantis, Byron Kane, Junius Matthews, Tony Barrett, and Bill James. The original musical score was composed and conducted by Lynn Murray. Sound patterns by Ray Kemper and Gus Bays. Suspense is produced in Hollywood under the direction of William N. Robeson.
Suspense. And the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
Mrs. Rogers was the kind of a lady to whom nothing ever happens. A quiet widow living in a quiet town among quiet friends. But dear Mrs. Rogers hardly expected to become involved in murder when she put that innocent little classified ad in the evening paper. Things weren't that quiet. Listen then, as Miss Lee Patrick stars in My Dear Niece, which begins in just a moment.
Welcome, William Bendix.
Nobody can act up to par with a nasty cold. I check my cold distress the fast way, with 4-way cold tablets.
Yes, tests of 4 leading cold tablets proved 4-way fastest acting of all. Amazing 4-way starts in minutes to relieve aches, pains, headache, reduce fever, calm upset stomach, also overcomes irregularity.
4-way's the fast way to relieve those cold miseries. Then you feel better quickly.
4-way cold tablets, only 29 and 59 cents.
Here's a word about another fine product of Grove Laboratories. Yes, you can get rid of embarrassing dandruff while you improve the appearance of your hair. With Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo, its special dandruff-removing lather reaches right down to the scalp, gently, thoroughly. So effective, it's guaranteed to remove itchy dandruff with just one lathering. And yet, Fitch can brighten your hair. Actually make it as much as 35% brighter. See shining highlights you didn't even know were there. For remember this about Fitch Shampoo. It positively removes dandruff, as it definitely acts to brighten your hair. Use it regularly.
And now, My Dear Niece, starring Lee Patrick. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
My dear niece, I'm writing you this letter in explanation of certain recent actions of mine, about which you are probably curious. You will recall that it was upon your advice that I placed the advertisement in our local paper, and you will probably recall its text. Widowed woman, genteel, some secretarial experience, drives own car, desires position of interest with reliable business house. Address Mrs. Emily Rogers, Box 2B, or phone Hilton 22412. Hello?
Mrs. Emily Rogers, please.
This is she speaking.
I'm calling about the ad you ran in yesterday's paper.
Oh, yes.
I think I can offer you a position you'd be interested in, Mrs. Rogers. My name is Bruce.
Yes, Mr. Bruce.
We're a very small publishing house, Mrs. Rogers, and we need someone to take care of any of the contacts we might wish to make in your part of the country.
Oh, you aren't from Hilton, then?
No, our offices are in Los Angeles. We pay you $50 a week, providing you could use your home as an office, although there wouldn't be much office work required. And as I say, the position primarily would be one of establishing contact.
Why, it sounds fine, Mr.
Bruce.
It sounds fine, Mr. Bruce.
Good. Then consider yourself under salary, beginning immediately, Mrs. Rogers. I'll phone you again as soon as there's something more definite for you to do.
And that's how I got the job. I assumed naturally that I would immediately receive instructions from Mr. Bruce as to how I should go about establishing contact. But the first word I had after the telephone conversation was when the postman arrived the next Saturday with an envelope for me containing a check for $50. There was no return address on the envelope, and the check was a personal one, bearing no company name. It was signed R.L. Bruce. 3 weeks went by in this fashion. Each Saturday I would receive the $50 check in the mail, and I began to wonder what I was being paid for when at last I heard from Mr. Bruce.
I have your first assignment for you, Mrs. Rogers.
I was beginning to wonder, Mr. Bruce.
Getting impatient, were you? Well, this will keep you busy for a while.
Really?
Mr. Paul Stevens will arrive in Hilton this afternoon. He's one of our most promising new authors.
Yes?
Mr. Stevens has some rewriting to do on a novel we plan to publish in a few months.
Oh.
Too many people interrupt him here in Los Angeles. I wonder, could you put him up at your home until he finishes?
Why, I don't know.
It'll be no bother, Mrs. Rogers. He has an awful lot of work to do.
Well, yes, I suppose I could.
That's fine. It's just a place for him to get away. Oh, one more thing.
Yes?
Just so we're sure he's not bothered, don't tell anyone he's staying with you.
When a cloud bursts and fresh, clean rain falls on a grove of rich green pines, it's so nice. And now, that same clean scent of pine is in new pine-scented Lysol.
Right. Now the one and only genuine Lysol brand disinfectant comes in a new pine scent. It disinfects, deodorizes, as nothing else does, kills disease germs on contact. In laboratory tests, Lysol's anti-germ action kept working for 7 full days. A bottle costs as little as 29 cents, and it's so easy to use. Just add new pine-scented Lysol to your suds when you clean in bathroom, kitchen, nursery, sick room. Use pine-scented Lysol because Lysol deep cleans. Make your home
pine sweet and Lysol clean.
You can still get regular Lysol, too.
And now, starring Lee Patrick, Act 2 of My Dear Niece.
And that's all I knew of the job, my dear niece. Mr. Paul Stevens would phone me when he arrived at Hilton, and I was to let him stay at my home until he had finished a novel he was writing. It seemed ridiculously easy, but at least I would be doing something for my pay. It was quite late in the afternoon, almost 5 o'clock, when the telephone rang. Hello?
Mrs. Rogers?
This is Mrs. Rogers.
This is Paul Stevens, Mrs. Rogers.
Oh, yes, Mr. Stevens. I've been expecting your call.
I wonder if you could pick me up.
Of course.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Where are you?
I'm at the corner of, just a minute. The corner of Brookside and Sierra Madre.
Fine. The corner of Brookside and Sierra Madre. I'll be driving a black Buick coupe.
Black Buick coupe. I'll be waiting. Bye.
Goodbye, Mr. Stevens. When I arrived at the corner of Brookside and Sierra Madre, the usually quiet intersection was filled with people, and an ambulance was just pulling away. For all I knew, Mr. Stevens could be in it. Then I saw Officer Barnes in the police car. He would know.
Oh, good afternoon, Mrs. Rogers.
What happened?
Hit-and-run accident a few minutes ago.
Who was hit?
Man about 35. No identification yet.
Was he badly hurt?
He's dead.
Oh, how awful.
Yeah.
I was supposed to meet someone, a gentleman here, Mr. Paul Stevens.
I'll be glad to call you when we get an identification on him.
Would you? I'd be very grateful. I went slowly back to where I had parked. I was confused and frightened a little that the hit-and-run victim might be Paul Stevens, and if so, how would I get in touch with Mr. Bruce to tell him what had happened to his young author? And then just as I started my car, I heard someone tapping on the window. Yes?
Mrs. Rogers?
Yes?
I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. I'm Paul Stevens.
Oh, Mr. Stevens, I'm so relieved. Please get in. The accident upset me. I was afraid for a minute it was you.
It wasn't me.
Oh, please get in.
Thank you.
I tried making conversation with Mr. Stevens on the drive home, but he seemed tired and not inclined to talk, and so we drove quietly back to my house. We went inside, and I showed Mr. Stevens to his room, and then went into the living room to tidy up. The telephone rang as I was setting out some ashtrays. Hello?
Hello, Mrs. Rogers. This is Officer Barnes.
Oh, yes, officer, I'm glad you called. I wanted to tell you that I
checked
met
an
Mr.
identification for you.
Yes, well, that's what I wanted to tell you, officer.
His name was Paul Stevens, all right.
Oh?
We had a flyer on him. That's how we knew. He was wanted for a payroll robbery in L.A., and he wasn't hit by a car. He was thrown from a car. He was murdered.
I stood there, frozen with fear, the telephone receiver in my hand, looking at the door to the hallway where the man who had called himself Paul Stevens stood smiling tightly, holding a gun in his hand. A gun that was pointed right at me.
Often on Thanksgiving, we're inclined to eat too much. And the result? Well, acid indigestion can very quickly spoil a pleasant holiday. So remember this.
Do you know about the little white tablet in the little green pocket roll? Just a-waiting for the moment when you need 'em to bring your acid indigestion under control. Tums are the little white tablets in the little green pocket roll. Tums for the tummy. T-U-M-S. Bring relief quicker than you'd ever guess. Best for any kind of acid distress. Keep 'em handy in the pocket roll. Keep your tummy under Tums control.
Get Tums, 10 cents, 3-roll pack a quarter. Or get the new 6-roll pack with free metal carrier, only 49 cents.
And now, starring Lee Patrick, Act 3 of My Dear Niece.
Have you any idea, my dear niece, what you do when a man points a gun at you? Well, I'll tell you. You do what he tells you to do. I hung up the phone.
Sit down.
I sat down, and I said, "Who are you? Why did you pretend to be Mr. Stevens?"
I'm stupid.
What?
I didn't think they would find out who he was. I didn't know he was hot.
You killed him?
Yes. I killed Paul Stevens.
Why?
I run a very special kind of publishing business, Mrs. Rogers. That much of the story was on the level. I print, well, pornographic books for a very special clientele. Mr. Stevens somehow got hold of a list of my customers and threatened to use it for blackmail. So, I killed him.
Oh, you horrid man.
Get your coat on, Mrs. Rogers. You've got some more driving to do.
He made me drive to a restaurant on the highway out on the other side of town. A place with quite a bad reputation. All the while, I was trying to remember who he was. I say remember because there was something familiar about him. But what that something was, I couldn't for the life of me think. There was hardly anyone in the restaurant, since it was not yet dinner time. We'd just been seated at a table when a dark-complexioned man slid into the seat next to the man who wasn't Mr. Stevens.
What are you doing here? I had to come. It didn't work. They found out who he was.
Why'd you stay where you were supposed to?
She knows I'm not Stevens. A cop told her.
You could stay at the house anyway, couldn't you? Do you have to come out where you could be picked up?
Ow, look, listen.
What's the matter with you?
Mary figured out a foolproof way for you to get rid of a guy and hide out right under the cops' noses, and you go louse up the whole deal.
It's not loused up yet.
There will be if you don't get away quick.
Maybe. Oh, I don't think you've met Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers, this is Mr. Al Newholt, who owns this place.
How do you do?
Look, how'd the cops find out who he was? How?
He was hot. They had pictures and prints on him. I dumped him on the corner just before I met her.
Now I remember. You're Mr. Bruce.
He did the payroll job that... What'd you say?
He's Mr. Bruce, the man who offered me the job on the phone and asked me to look after Mr. Stevens.
That's right, Mrs. Rogers. How did you know?
Your voice. I thought there was something familiar about you, and now I know. Your voice.
Al, what are we going to do? The cops know the stiff is Stevens, and she knows who I am. What do we do now?
You don't panic, and you get out of here.
But I need your help, Al.
You're on your own, buddy, and you better get out of here before the dinner crowd comes in and somebody maybe recognizes you.
Okay, Al. So you won't help me?
I can't. Don't you see that?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Let's go, Mrs. Rogers.
Where?
Back to your house and start all over again. After that, I'm not sure. But I may have to kill you.
Of all leading filters, cigarettes, Kent filters best, Kent filters best. It makes good sense when you smoke Kent, Kent filters best. Of all of the brands of cigarettes, Kent tastes the best, Kent tastes the best. A richer taste than all the rest, Kent filters best. Good sense when you smoke Kent. Of all leading filter cigarettes, Kent filter best.
And now, starring Lee Patrick, Act 4 of My Dear Niece.
May well imagine my fright, my dear niece, as I drove back through town with this bloodthirsty man at my side. My car is not new, as you know, and although I often have trouble with it, I never before had the horn stick. But that night it stuck right on the corner of Brookside and Sierra Madre.
Stop blowing your horn.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bruce, I'm not blowing my horn. It's got stuck.
All right, stop the car.
You stay there. Don't try to drive away. See?
Yes, I see.
Get out of here.
You got the horn fixed, Mrs. Rogers?
Who's that?
Oh.
Good evening, Mrs. Rogers.
Tell him everything's all right.
Want me to fix that horn for you?
No, thank you, Mr. Myers. It's all right.
Well, it'll only take me a second to fix it so you can use it.
Never mind. Mr. Myers, this is Mr. Paul Stevens.
How are you, sir?
Yeah.
I see you pull them wires to stop the horn. I usually take care of Mrs. Rogers' car myself. Makes me feel funny when something goes wrong with it, you know.
Of course.
I'll bring it in the morning, Mr. Myers.
No sense you're bothering, Mrs. Rogers. I'll go along with you now if you like. Take you home. Not safe driving without a horn. Won't take long to fix it, and I'll have the car back to you first thing in the morning.
I believe you said you wanted to show me the town this evening, Mrs. Rogers. Wouldn't you need the car?
Well,
I was looking forward to the drive. You don't mind.
No, of course. You will pick the automobile up in the morning, Mr. Myers?
Sure, of course.
Thanks for your trouble, Mr. Myers.
I'm glad to help. This is such a little town. We all know each other and like each other. Like to help each other. That so, Mrs. Rogers?
Yes.
Good night, Mrs. Rogers. And I'm glad to have met you, Mr. Stevens.
We drove on home. I tried to figure out why he chose me out of all the people who must have placed advertisements that day as the person with whom he would hide out. For by now I was convinced that Mr. Bruce had deliberately set out to murder Mr. Stevens for some reason and hide out in my house, where the police would be most unlikely to look for him. But why my house? Why had he chosen me? When we got to the house, Mr. Bruce made me place a long-distance call to Los Angeles for him. It's ringing.
All right, give it to me.
Hello?
Mary?
Bud?
Yeah. Look, meet me at Al's as soon as you can get here. Something's wrong.
What's happened? Are you all right?
Yeah, fine. I'll tell you when you get here. And get here fast.
All right, Bud.
Well, you got any pets you want to feed before we leave?
Where are we going?
Little trip. You ready? Don't answer that.
It might be the operator calling back. She'll wonder.
Okay, answer it. But I'm right here.
Hello?
Mrs. Rogers, this is Officer Bond. Say, oh, yes, operator.
Oh, yes, operator.
Is he still there?
Yes, operator.
Stall him a little. We're coming after him.
Thank you, operator. Dear Mr. Myers, he'd understood me, and he'd told the police, and they were going to save me. Well, you just can't imagine, my dear niece. I felt exactly like the heroine in a motion picture. I simply had to prevent Mr. Bruce from leaving the house. Just a few minutes, the officer had said. Just time enough for them to get here.
All right, let's get going.
I wish I knew where we were going. Do I have to take anything with me? Will we be gone long?
You will. A long time.
Well, then I'll need several changes of clothes. Let me see.
You won't need anything.
The heater.
The what?
I left the heater on in the other room. I'd better turn it off.
All right, but make it fast. Well?
Just a second. There. Now I feel better about it.
Okay. Now, you ready?
Yes. Now I'm ready. Mr. Bruce turned off the light and opened the front door. It was quiet on the street, peaceful and dark, but I thought for a minute that I saw a figure move suddenly toward us in the shadow. I kept praying. I wanted the police to be there, not only for myself, but because back there in the living room, the pieces of the puzzle had fit together. Now I knew the whole story, all of the whys and hows. Mr. Bruce motioned to me to go ahead, and I walked slowly down the path toward the automobile. I could feel Mr. Bruce a few steps behind me. Midway in the walk, it happened.
Hold him high, Bruce. What? Get down, Mrs. Rogers.
Oh, there you...
Oh. Mrs. Rogers. That's right. You all right?
Yeah. I'm all right. Thank you. I'm all right. And there it is, my dear niece. The explanation I promised you. I felt as your aunt that I should tell you, Mary, how you happened to be in the county jail awaiting trial. When Mr. Al in the roadhouse first mentioned your name, I was suspicious. But not until Mr. Bruce made the phone call to you did I piece the story together. You had suggested the advertisement. Your husband answered it and employed me. Oh, if only you'd told me, my dear, that you'd gotten married while you were in Los Angeles. After all, I am your only living relative, and I could have come to your wedding. Then this whole thing wouldn't have happened, would it, dear? Because I would have known Mr. Bruce all the time. Let me know after the trial what your new address is to be, and I will continue writing. As always, Aunt Emily.
Suspense, in which Lee Patrick starred in William N. Robeson's production of My Dear Niece, written by Elliot Lewis. In just a moment, the names of the supporting players and a word about next week's story of Suspense.
Families, far more families, use X-Lax than any other laxative. In fact, today, many doctors recommend trusted X-Lax for youngsters as well as adults. X-Lax is the preferred laxative for one important reason. X-Lax helps you toward your normal regularity, gently, overnight.
You see, X-Lax gives you the relief you want the gentle way that nature wants, without upset, without discomfort. When you take chocolated X-Lax at night, it does not disturb your sleep. And X-Lax is so effective that the next morning you'll be well on your way toward your normal regularity. Seldom, if ever, will you need X-Lax the next day.
Little wonder that of all the laxatives made today, tablet, powder, or liquid, X-Lax is the most popular. So the next time, any time that you or any member of your family needs a laxative, make that laxative pleasant-tasting, chocolated X-Lax. Introductory size, only 15 cents.
Supporting Lee Patrick in My Dear Niece were Lillian Baeff, Barry Kroger, Barney Phillips, Jack Crucian, and Norm Alden. Listen. Listen again next week when we return with Kathy Lewis in A Statement of Fact. Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
Mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
The most lurid of crimes is the crime of passion. No mere bank robbery or stock swindle can compete for newspaper space with a nice, juicy love nest murder. Our story concerns itself with a murder which criminologists would classify as a crime of passion. But we feel that it is just the opposite, a crime of no passion, a negative murder committed because passion had fled and love was dead. A homicide without hope. Listen then as Miss Kathy Lewis stars in A Statement of Fact, which begins in just a minute.
And now, A Statement of Fact, starring Kathy Lewis. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I'm sorry, no comment. Sorry, I have nothing to say at this time.
Oh, hiya, Chris. You didn't waste any time.
Can't afford to. How'd the press get in on this?
The sheriff called him after I told him you were on your way down.
Publicity hound, huh?
Well, every little bit helps in an election year.
Yeah, where's the prisoner?
In there with him.
Where's she been hiding these last 3 days?
I don't know. She didn't talk, at least to me.
She'll talk to me.
Just a minute. The sheriff left orders that he's not to be disturbed.
What's your name?
Deputy P.G. Thaler.
Mr. Thaler, I want you to go and stand by that door over there.
Huh?
No one, absolutely no one, is to come through that door until I say so.
I take my orders from Sheriff Morrow.
Oh, you do?
Thaler, Hey, I thought I told you I didn't want anyone around here.
Morning, Sheriff.
Who are you?
Dale Christian, Deputy District Attorney.
Oh, we can handle this situation all right, Mr. Christian.
Is Mrs. Dudley in there?
Yes.
She's guarded?
No need to guard.
Get in there, John. Don't take your eyes off her.
Right, Chris.
Now, look here.
Now, you look here, Sheriff. You're going to do as I say.
Just a minute there, Bradford. He has no right to go into my office.
He has every right to go in there, and I'll show you why. Here. See this? It's a warrant issued yesterday afternoon for the arrest of Ellen Randall Dudley. When you see that seal and that signature, your authority is automatically superseded.
No one comes in here and tells me how to run my job.
I'm telling you. You're trying to get your name and picture in every newspaper in the country at the expense of this case. I'll have no more of it. This is no pressman's holiday. If you have any brains at all, you'll take Mr. Thaler here and go outside and get rid of those reporters as fast as you can.
I'll take action against you for this, Mr. Christian.
You just do that, Sheriff, and see where it'll get you.
And now, starring Kathy Lewis, Act 2 of A Statement of Fact.
Morning, Miss Dudley.
Yes?
My name is Christian, Miss Dudley. I am the Deputy District Attorney. All right, John.
Okay.
What are you going to do?
Just ask a few questions, Miss Dudley.
What kind of questions?
I'm obligated to warn you that whatever you say right now may be used later in the court.
And to be on the safe side, I shouldn't tell you anything.
Miss Dudley, listen carefully. Yesterday afternoon, I attended a coroner's inquest inquiring into the death of your husband, Robert Ames Dudley.
Yes.
The coroner's jury determined that Mr. Dudley came to his death as the result of wounds inflicted by you, his wife. A hatchet was presented as evidence and was identified by police experts as the murder weapon. That hatchet carries fingerprints identified as yours. 2 witnesses, your maid, Ethel Lee Barth, and a neighbor, Mrs. Frank Thompson, gave testimony that further incriminates you. Enough evidence was presented for the coroner's jury to recommend that you be taken into custody and held for the action of the grand jury. Now, do you understand what I have just told you?
Yes, I think so.
In a few days, the grand jury will meet and charge you with murdering your husband. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Fine. Now, a frank, honest statement from you right now may determine the disposition and the proper plea to be entered on your behalf.
What do you mean, Mr. Christian? Proper plea?
Miss Dudley, you murdered your husband on the night of the 13th. The sooner you admit that, the better off you'll be.
Suppose I don't admit anything.
Then you can expect no clemency, and that, of course, is entirely up to you, Mrs. Dudley. But I must tell you that the death house in the state penitentiary is full of people who didn't listen to reason while they still had a chance. This is your chance, Mrs. Dudley, right here and now. Well?
I don't know what to do.
If you don't take my advice, they'll hang you. I promise you, Mrs. Dudley, they'll hang you as certainly as you're sitting in that chair. Well?
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
And now, starring Kathy Lewis, Act 3 of A Statement of Fact.
Now, suppose we begin at the beginning, Mrs. Dudley.
The beginning? What was the beginning? I don't know.
Well, let's say, where did you meet your husband? Seems to me I read someplace that it was in Europe.
Yes, that's right. In the south of France. I had a villa on Cap Ferrat that summer.
And what summer would that be?
1950.
15. Meet him through friends, did you?
Yes, at a gala in Monte Carlo. We were married 3 weeks later at the Marie in Grasse.
Rather a short engagement, wasn't it?
Seemed an eternity at the time. I was fed up with European gentlemen, I suppose, tired of having my hand kissed, bored with the kind of men who put all women into 2 categories, possible wives or possible mistresses. Roger seemed only interested in me as a wife, and he was so refreshing, so healthy, so American.
But the marriage didn't work out the way you expected. I understand you and Mr. Dudley have been having trouble for some time.
Oh, yes. For years. I soon found out that although he wanted me as a wife, he wanted every other woman as a girlfriend.
And he drank?
He drank.
Now, if you'll just start with the events of that night.
What is today?
Friday.
I'd be playing bridge this afternoon. There's a dog show tomorrow evening I wanted to go to, but I won't be able to go anywhere now. Do you feel sorry for me, Mr. Christian?
Beg your pardon?
Do you feel sorry for me?
Makes no difference how I feel, Miss Dudley. You're an accused prisoner, and my job is to get a statement of fact from you. That's why I'm here.
Oh.
And Miss Dudley, I'm your friend here. In a courtroom, I'll represent the prosecution, and I'll do everything I can to see to it that you hang unless you make a complete confession now. Is that perfectly clear to you, Miss Dudley?
Yes. And if you have a record of always getting a conviction, that'll help when you decide to run for district attorney, won't it?
Miss Dudley, my professional career has nothing to do with this. If I weren't here talking to you, someone else in my office would be here. It's a job that has to be done, and I happen to be the one who's doing it.
But wouldn't it be better for you if you had more of an audience than Mr. Bradford over there? Wouldn't it be much better if you had me in a courtroom with reporters and photographers?
Dudley, do you want to talk to me
I don't
now?
mean to make you angry, Mr. Christian, but if all you've told me is true about what happened at the coroner's inquest and what will happen when the grand jury meets, you can hang me right now.
I certainly can.
And yet you're here to get my story. You must be uncertain about something.
I told you I'm trying to help you, Mrs. Dudley, but I warn you, I am not uncertain about anything where you're concerned. Make no mistake about that. I have a duty to the people of this state, and that is to learn the facts of this case and present them before the court, and I intend to do that with or without your cooperation. Well?
May I talk to you alone?
You understand why Mr. Bradford is here?
Yes, But I'd like to tell it to you alone. It can't possibly hurt anything to talk to you first, can it?
All right, John, wait outside. I'll send for you when I need you.
Right, Chris.
Thank you.
And now, starring Kathy Lewis, Act 4 of A Statement of Fact.
All right, Mrs. Dudley, we're quite alone. What do you want to tell me?
I killed my husband.
Very well. Tell me how it happened.
I was having some people over for dinner that night. I was busy in the kitchen with the maid fixing the dinner. When Roger came downstairs, I asked him to do a simple thing, just a little thing. I asked him to start a fire in the fireplace.
Go on, please.
Well, he took so long down in the basement getting things ready for the fire, and our guests were arriving at 7:30. So I asked him to come up and make some martinis and let the fire go for the minute. He called me a name.
Why?
I never knew why he did things like that. I went downstairs to ask him why he was so angry, and he called me another name. It wasn't just the name or him being angry. It was all of the things he'd done to me before, the arguing and the fighting and the insults. When he started up the stairs, I picked up the hatchet and I hit him with it. He fell down.
Then what did you do?
I ran upstairs and put on my coat and left the house.
Where have you been these last 3 days?
I never left town. I took a room at a motel, and last night I decided I better get away, go east maybe. Somebody recognized me at the bus station.
Why did you kill him?
He took my life away from me, Mr. Christian.
I don't understand.
When I went down the stairs that night and saw him standing there, I suddenly realized all he had taken from me. Everything that was young and fresh and wanting. And I despised him for it. So I killed him.
Why? Why did you have to kill him? You could have divorced him, left him.
Don't you see what he had taken from me, Mr. Christian? There was nothing left for him to steal from me, or nothing left for me to give to another man. Are you married?
No, I'm afraid I've been too busy.
You wouldn't know what a man can take from a woman if... Mr. Christian, am I someone you'd want to be married to if this terrible thing hadn't happened? Am I someone you'd be proud to have for a wife?
You might be.
That's all a woman needs, is to be wanted. Am I old and ugly and unattractive? Am I shallow or flighty? Look at me, Mr. Christian.
I am.
No. Stand up, please. Look at me. Close.
Yeah.
Would you want to be loved by me?
You're very beautiful, Mrs. Dudley.
Have you any idea what it means to be a beautiful woman, Mr. Christian? To be admired by every man and envied by every woman, and never to be sure of why? How many times have I heard those words, I love you? Wondered what they meant. What was loved? My face? My figure? My artificial makeup? My Dior gown? Or me? Maybe you can give me the straight answer, Mr. Christian. I haven't been able to get to the hairdressers recently. I've run out of lipstick. I'm afraid this suit needs pressing. Would you want to be loved by me, Mr. Christian?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Well, I was nothing to Roger Dudley, nothing. And my love was nothing to him. I was a fixture, a decoration, an animal. And he took all of it. My love and my life, and then he stood at the bottom of the stairs and called me a name.
Mrs. Dudley, now, listen to me. Listen to me. Now, no one saw this happen. The maid was upstairs in the kitchen. Mrs. Thompson only heard it from next door. Now, listen to me, please. You can claim that you did it in self-defense. He came at you, and you picked up the hatchet, and you hit him with it to protect yourself. Now, you tell it that way when Mr. Bradford comes back here. There are a dozen good men in this state who'd be glad to represent you in court with a story like that. I'll be opposite them, but you can get off. In the end, you'll be charged with second-degree murder, and at the most, you'll get a suspended sentence. Don't you understand what I'm telling you? You can be free.
Yes, Mr. Christian.
All right, let's have Mr. Bradford in here now, please.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Hold it.
I can never be free.
What are you talking about?
You haven't understood a thing I told you, have you, Mr. Christian? He took my life away from me a long time ago. Can't you see, Mr. Christian, I don't have any life to live now.
Mrs. Dudley, you have everything to live for. Look, you're young, beautiful. You want and need all of the things that life can give you.
Too late, Mr. Christian.
No, it's not too late. You must listen to me. You're too valuable a person. Too desirable, too beautiful to die. You must live.
Why?
For me. For us.
What?
You need to be loved. You need me. God help me. I need you. I need you. I need you.
A few minutes ago, you were telling me about your duty to the people of this state, Mr. Christian. Tell me about it now.
Yes?
All right. Send in Mr. Bradford.
I wanted to talk to you alone like this to make sure I was right. You're no different than he was, Mr. Christian. You'd take a woman and do the same thing to her that he did to me. Until you kissed me just then, I wasn't a person to you. I was an animal. A trapped animal. And if I let you help me escape from this trap, I'd just be escaping into a smaller one. A worse one. With you. You're another Roger Dudley.
Okay, Chris? Chris?
Are you ready to make your statement of fact, Mrs. Dudley?
Yes.
All right, John, take it down. From the beginning, Miss Dudley. Just sit down.
Jack Newman. In just a moment, the names of the supporting players and a word about next week's story of suspense. Supporting Kathy Lewis in a statement of fact were John Daner, Charles Seal, and Barney Phillips. Listen. Listen again next week when we return with another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
Of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
During the last 100 years, a lot of jilted young men must have killed a lot of fickle sweethearts in the great Smoky Mountains of the Carolinas. But they remain anonymous since no one thought to write a song about them. Not so Tom Dooley. Thanks to the Kingston Trio's record of an old folk tune, Poor Tom has become one of the most celebrated murderers of our day, and therefore a fitting subject for suspense. Listen then, as Mr. Robert Horton stars in Tom Dooley.
And now, Tom Dooley, starring Mr. Robert Horton. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're bound to die.
For the last time, Tom Dooley, don't go no further. Don't go calling the girl that's waiting for me, cousin. You've been away a long time, Tom. And she's been waiting a long time. No cause to keep her waiting any longer. You go on home, Noah. I'm staying right here. What for? Here's how I'm needed. You're liable to stay there a real long time, cousin. Laura. Laura.
Hello, Tom. I heard you was back.
Darling, still a darling.
But I didn't know. I thought...
My darling,
I
Laura.
thought you were dead.
Dead they were. Piled high, but not Tom Dooley.
Let go of me.
And it's true what they've been saying down at the settlement. The man came along and he gentled you.
I grieved for you like I had to do. Over a year.
A schoolmaster, they say.
I love him. That's the way things are now.
A Yankee schoolmaster.
The war's done, Tom Dooley, and the killing's done. And the hate's done.
Maybe the hate's done. I don't know yet.
I grieved for you, Tom.
Tears on you, that was your grieving. Listen to mine. The fighting and the blood and the screaming and bull running and the Manassas and killing the Yankees. And they always coming. In Virginia and Pennsylvania and the killing and leaving your own blood wherever you go.
Tom.
But you go. Because as long as you're going, you're coming back. Back here to the Smokies. Back here to Laura and her pretty mouth. And Laura.
No, I don't love you no more, Tom. I don't love you.
You're going to love me. You're going to remember.
Tom, no.
I'll kill you, Laura, on account of you ain't worth those 4 years. On account I couldn't wait for your man. There you go, cousin. Get out of here, Noah. You're my blood cousin. And I'm holding the gun on you. And I'm saying you got to go. I'd kill you where you stand, Tom, and no man would blame me. I would, Tom. Yeah. I think you would. Good night, Laura.
Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're bound to die.
In a moment, we continue with the second act of Suspense.
Yeah. And then what did he do, Tom? Do? He just stood there like a bound boy to husky. Yeah. You know, Tom, we sure miss you around the stove. Why, all of us thought I was dead. What can't be, Tom? All of us come back as soon as we hear General Lee surrendering. What happened to you?
I've never seen Pennsylvania. Walked around it.
With a gal?
Just walked.
You walked too slow, Tom. Yeah, you walked a lot too slow. Laura Foster passed you right by.
Yeah, I heard.
They tell me she's learning how to read and write.
I heard that, too.
Schoolmaster, Yankee.
War's over, Jess. Fighting and the hating.
Yeah, I reckon so. Hey, Noah.
Yeah, what you want, Jess?
Oh, Noah, pass that jug over here. Give your cousin a drink.
Ain't drinking no more, Jess.
Hey, now, that's the kind of reason you ain't doing a lot of things. You changed, Tom.
Yeah, I guess I have.
You going to learn how to read and write? Schoolmaster says he can teach anybody that wants to learn. I hear tell the gal can learn a lot from that there schoolmaster. I reckon a feller could, too.
Better stop it, Jess.
Yeah, them Yankees are smart fellers. I reckon that's why they won the war. Yeah, they won everything, them Yankees.
You heat up my cousin, your tongue's going to turn real cold, Jess.
Did now. And what you got to say about that, Tom?
Keep talking. I don't mind.
Well, all I can say is if my gal started cheating with somebody else, I'd sure... We'll speak of the devil. Hi, Yankee.
Morning.
What you want?
Well, I got a list here. Need some groceries.
We just been talking about you. Me, and Zach, Hummin, Josh, all of us. Noah Dooley, his cousin Tom, too.
Here's my list.
Why don't you read it to me, school teacher? I ain't got to learn it.
Sack of potatoes.
Like I said, we've been talking, wondering.
Sack of sugar.
You like North Carolina, Yankee? The Carolina Knights?
Green beans and flour.
How about the North Carolina women? Pretty, ain't they? So,
wait on him, Jess.
And Laura's the prettiest of them all, ain't she?
Wait on him.
Ain't she? Tom Dooley here used to think so.
The man wants to buy something, shopkeeper. Sell it to him.
I seen you walking, Yankee. You was trying to get yourself lost.
Jeff! Why'd you do that, Mr. Dooley? We got no call to talk that way to you. I'll do my own talking. And I'm saying, I hope you and Laura will be very happy.
Laura will be glad to hear that, Mr. Dooley. Mr. Dooley?
Yes?
Laura says you can play the fiddle.
That's right.
Well, we are having a betrothal party tomorrow night.
I'll play the fiddle for you. For you and Laura.
You're tired fiddling 2 hours without letting up.
Strum me, cousin. Just take the fiddle, huh?
Where are you going, Tom?
Just play the fiddle pretty, cousin. Don't worry about me.
All right, all right.
Laura.
Oh.
I didn't mean to frighten you, Laura.
Oh, that's all right.
I was playing me my fiddle. I saw you come out here, and I wanted to say something to you.
I wanted to talk to you, too. Paul told me what you did. They teasing him and calling him Yankee, and you...
That was all right.
I've been hearing other things, Tom.
What sort of things?
How you're different. How you ease down and not wild so much no more. I'm glad, Tom.
But it don't make no difference to you, does it, Laura? How you feel, I mean.
No.
Laura,
Yes?
walk with me.
No, that wouldn't be right, Tom.
Things I gotta tell you.
It wouldn't be right to listen, Tom.
Just a favor I'm asking. I'm pleading. I changed, you heard that, just a little walk, Laura.
A little walk? All right.
You remember? We used to come this way.
No talk of that, Tom.
I remember.
I'm going back if you don't.
Please don't.
Tom. Tom, you'll find a girl. There's no bitterness now, is there, Tom? Tom?
The way that water runs. From the top of the mountains to who knows where.
You'll find your girl and you'll be happy.
A man like me, Laura. A man like me never be happy. You're the cause, Laura. Laura, you're the cause.
I met her on the mountain. There I took her life. Met her on the mountain. Stabbed her with my knife. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Oh, boy, you're bound to die.
In a moment, we continue with the third act of Suspense.
Enjoying yourself, Mr. Dooley? Huh? Oh, sure. It's a nice party you got going, Mr. Grayson. Talk to you for a minute? Sure. Pardon me, ma'am. What can I do for you? You see, Laura, a while ago when I was fiddling, my suits might have treated nice. Well, how long ago was that? Oh, half hour, maybe. Why, what's the matter? Well, she's not in here. Outside. Well, I could find. Well, maybe some help you look for her. Well, she don't need no looking for. She'll be around. Well, enjoy yourself, Mr. Dooley. I'll do that, Miss Grayson.
Hang down your head and cry. Oh, well, hang down your head and cry. Oh, boy, you're bound to die.
Tom, wake up, huh? Come on, Tom. Come on, wake up. Get on your feet. Why are you waking me, cousin? Listen here. Listen to me. Why are you waking me when it's still black outside? You killed Laura, Tom. What? They found Laura snagged on a rock right under the North Falls. She was stabbed. What are you saying, Noah? I'm saying it and everybody else is saying it. You put a knife to Laura. You saw me dancing, Noah. Everybody saw me dancing. People seen you go outside, too. They're coming after you, Tom. Saying I killed her. Knowing it. Knowing you're the only person had reason. Everybody saw me dancing. You're talking and they're coming after you. They're gonna hang you, cousin. They're gonna hang you, sure. You killed her. Didn't you? You gotta help me. Kill her. Pretty thing like Laura. You're blood kin to me, Noah. And you're going to help me. You're going to do what I tell you. No, I'm not, Tom. I'm doing nothing. You're talking like a man who don't care if you die. You're going to wait till I get out of this cabin, till I get on your horse and start riding to Tennessee. Then you're going to wait some more, see? Till you hear them coming. Then you're going to get on my horse and wear my hat, and you're going to start riding in the other direction. When you leave, I got the length of this room to decide whether to shoot you in the back. And get going.
In a moment, we continue with the fourth act of Suspense.
Who's there? Who's there? I see you. I'm going to shoot.
That's my friend Selman, you might see. Me, you can't see at all because I'm at your back. Now, you just stand where you're standing.
What do you want?
You stand where you're standing and you're going to feel something. Feel it? My gun in your back. All right, Selman, take his gun. Give it to him. Give it to him, that's it. You come out too, George. You too, Dawson.
I don't know you men. Who are you?
Yankees.
What do you want with me?
Well, we don't know, Johnny Reb. We're just down here on a visit.
You want my money, that's what.
Now, there's a thought. Where's your money, Reb?
Got none.
Got none. Got none. Where you come from, Reb?
I'm back there.
Still wearing a rebel jacket. Don't you know the war's over?
War's over, but you're still...
We're still enjoying it. Living off the fat of southern land. Won a war we did, Reb. And we're enjoying it.
I got no more quarrel with you, Yank. Just let me alone.
Once you had a quarrel. Yeah. Where did you fight, Reb?
Manassas,
Manassas. Take a look at the wood I wear for a leg, Reb. Change them at Manassas. A red bullet. You shoot that bullet?
Maybe I did.
Yeah. You got us a brave one, Selman. Make him cry a little. Oh! 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 Get up, Reb. Get up. Nice entertainment, that's all we're looking for, Reb. You dance, Reb? I bet you do. I'll tell you what. You dance for us. Dawson, get us the rope.
You got no cause to hang me.
For dancing purposes. You do us a do-si-do on the air from that tree over there. Let him alone. Huh? Who are you? A Yankee. Like you. Isn't that right, Tom?
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Grayson.
I'm a Yankee, gentlemen. A Yankee who says with this rifle that the hating is over. Leave this man alone and get out. All right, men. Get.
Mr. Grayson, they were going to kill me. I'm grateful to you.
Grateful? For what?
For saving my life.
You're going right back to where you come from. The way you killed Laura. You walk ahead of my horse. Or I'll shoot you where you stand. You're going to die legal, Tom Dooley. Now move.
Down some lonesome valley, hanging from a white oak tree. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley, hang down your head, cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley, oh boy, you're bound to die. Oh boy, you're bound to die. Oh boy, you're bound to die.
Suspense, in which Robert Horton starred in William N. Robeson's production of Tom Dooley, written by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. Supporting Robert Horton and Tom Dooley were Hilda Hart, Norm Alden, Robert Easton, Carl Swenson, and Joe DeSantis. Listen. Listen again next week when we return with Mr. John Lund in For Old Time's Sake, another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
This is the CBS Radio
Suspense. And the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
Murder will out, they say. And you can't keep a good man down, they say. But what pithy piece of folk wisdom covers the criminal who is a good man? That's what our story is about. A good man with a past. A criminal who returns to a reasonable facsimile of the scene of his crime. Listen then as John Lund stars in For Old Time's Sake, which begins in just a moment.
Did you know we once had a president who never voted in his life? That's right. He was Zachary Taylor, our 12th president. It seems that Taylor joined the Army when he was in his early 20s and stayed in the service until just before he was elected president. While he was a soldier, he was never qualified to vote, since he was never stationed long enough in one place. And strange to say, he didn't even vote for himself in the election which made him president. But today, through absentee ballots, most of our military personnel are given the chance to vote, because we, as a nation, have learned that the foundation of authority is in the full consent of the people.
And now, For Old Time's Sake, starring John Lund, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Now, Mr. Winterfield, if you'll sign above your wife's signature, the house is yours. It'll be a day or two before the escrow will... Mr. Winterfield?
Bert, Mr. Nelson speaking to you.
I'm sorry. Just sign here.
Bert, you're acting so strange. What's the matter?
Nothing, Helen, nothing at all. We don't see you nearly enough, Mr. Winterfield, considering you're one of our prominent businessmen.
I don't think he likes banks.
I certainly hope that isn't the case. But that was the case. I don't like banks. They make me nervous. I suppose because I helped stick up a few years ago when I was only a kid. Oh, I served my time, but I still don't like banks. I don't suppose I've been in the First National a dozen times in the 15 years I've lived in Madison City. But I had to be there now when this nightmare began.
Folks, this is a stick-up!
The bank was being robbed. It was so familiar, like watching an old movie, that I kept waiting for Pinky to go into action. Waiting for Pinky to give the orders.
Don't move back into the vault. Go on, be quick about it.
And there it was. It was Pinky's voice, crowding in on me out of the past, shouting at me.
You heard me, buddy. Get those hands up and turn around. I said get those hands up. Now turn around.
Well, what do you know?
The rest of you people move back. Go on, into the vault. Not you. You stay.
What do you want with him?
Who's she?
My wife.
Tell her to get into the vault.
Go on, Helen.
What does he want, Bert?
Please go, Helen.
Lady, I told you to get.
He means it, honey. Go on.
Right.
Well, Bert, just like old times, isn't it? Cat got your tongue? Here, grab the sack. Must be your turn to take up the collection. You still remember how it's done, don't you?
I was just a kid. I've done my time.
Does your wife know?
No, I never told her.
Does anyone in this burg know?
No.
Not even the cops?
No, no one.
What do you do for a living?
I own a hardware store.
And nobody knows that you're an ex-con?
Nobody.
Then it wouldn't do you any good if people found out. Would it, Bert?
No, it wouldn't.
Come on, then. Hold that sack open. Why?
Look, Pinky, I don't want to get mixed up in this. I've gone straight.
I know, but you don't mind helping a pal for old time's sake, do you, pal? Now then, next cage.
Leave me out of it.
You want I should kill you?
Well, what am I going to tell him?
Nothing. Don't tell nobody nothing. You don't talk, I don't talk, see? Well, I'll give you a break. I'll make it look good. Hand over your wallet.
Okay.
There. Now you can say you was robbed, too. Man, you're loaded. You must not trust banks. Hey, these your kids?
Yeah.
Where they at?
My wife and I dropped them off at the show.
I'll bet you got big plans for these girls.
Sure I have.
In case you can't keep quiet for old time's sake, just remember these kids. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Where do you... Never mind, here it is. Albert Winterfield, 915 South Maple Street. I'll remember your address, Bert. 915 South Maple. If I happen to read about myself on page 1 of the morning paper, I'll be dropping in on you. Not next week, maybe, or even next month. But I'll be back.
Don't worry.
I should worry? They're your kids, Bert.
I'm aware of that. Here's your sack.
You got all of it?
Yeah.
Okay, just a minute. All clear?
All clear.
Everybody tied up?
Yeah.
Turn around, Bert. I can't waste time tying you up.
Yeah, Picky, I remember your style.
For old time's sake, pal. Come on, boys. Let's get out of here.
Friends, this is Jimmy Wallington. You know, many great men have attained the highest office in our land, the presidency of the United States. Can you guess the name of this man? He was born in 1767 and began his military career at the age of 13. His distinguished victories included campaigns against the Creek and Seminole tribes during the Indian Wars and the Battle of New Orleans against the British in 1815. In his political life, this man served as United States Senator and as governor of the Florida Territory. In his first campaign for the presidency, he was unsuccessful. But in 1828, he won the election and served for 2 terms. Well, you should have his name by now, but in case you don't, here's one important clue. He brought new attention to national politics during the first year of his administration by discharging nearly 700 office holders, as against only 74 removals by all the preceding presidents. Yes, he was Andrew Jackson, 7th President of the United States. His life is part of your American heritage.
And now, starring John Lund, Act 2 of For Old Time's Sake.
I woke up in the emergency hospital at police headquarters with a couple of stitches in my head. The doctor told my wife she could take me home, but first there was a Lieutenant Williams from the robbery squad to get around.
You feel well enough to answer a few questions, Mr. Winfield?
No, I don't.
Won't take long.
Some other time, huh?
I'm afraid it's got to be now. Can you think of any reason why you were singled out to assist in the robbery?
No, I was forced to do it at gunpoint.
What'd you two talk about?
Nothing.
You didn't talk?
No.
You didn't say anything to one another?
I told you we didn't.
Bert, that isn't what you...
You started to say something, Mrs. Winterfield? What was it, Mrs. Winterfield?
Nothing. It was nothing.
Mrs. Winterfield, a few moments ago you told me that you saw your husband talking to the gunman. Now, isn't that right?
Well, he might have said something. Yeah, in fact, he did. I remember now. He said,
Huh? What'd he say?
Well, Oh, yeah. He said he was going to kill me if I tried anything. He kept saying that over and over.
You better sit down, Mr. Winterfield. We might be here for some time.
Now, look. I'm not going to play games with you, copper.
Bert.
I've had enough of it, Helen. Now, unless you intend to book me, I'm going home.
I'm not going to book you. And you know it. But I can't help feeling that you're covering up something.
I don't care what you think. Am I free to go?
Yeah. But you know, Mr. Winterfield, this is going to trouble me. It's going to trouble me until I find out what it's about.
Be my guest. Helen, you coming?
I guess so.
Well, come on, let's go.
I'll see you later, Mr. Winterfield.
Bert, I'm waiting.
Waiting for what?
You haven't opened your mouth since we left the hospital.
There isn't anything to talk about.
Isn't anything to talk about. I should say there's a great deal to talk about.
Get off my back, Helen.
Bert, what is this? You never used that tone of voice to me before.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bert, listen to me. If you're in trouble, I want to know about it. I want to help you.
Nobody can help me.
Bert, remember that promise we made when we were married?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do. We promised we'd always tell each other the truth. We were awfully solemn about it, and I suppose maybe a little silly. But, darling, I've kept that promise. And I believe you have, too. Up until now.
I never kept it, Helen. Not from the moment I made it.
Bert.
I'm sorry, dear. I loved you so much. I wanted you. I needed you so badly. I was ready to promise anything.
Yes?
I'm an ex-convict, Helen.
Oh, Bert, no.
Yeah. Don't you see? I couldn't tell you. You wouldn't have married me.
Yes, I would, Bert. That wouldn't have made any difference. It doesn't make any difference now.
You sure?
I'm positive. Then you knew that bank robber.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell the lieutenant?
Why should I?
It's your duty as a citizen.
Oh, is it?
Of course it is. Now you're guilty of withholding information from the police.
I can't rat, Helen.
Rat? Is this man a friend of yours?
No, not exactly. I used to work with him.
Work? You mean you robbed banks with him?
Yes.
Are you wanted for anything now?
Oh, no, Helen, no. That was a long time ago. I got caught. I went to prison. I'm clean.
Oh, it frightens me to hear you talk like that. Clean, rat, copper. I don't like it, Bert. Let's go back and tell the lieutenant.
I can't, Helen.
You can't pretend this never happened.
Well, let me worry about that, huh?
I'm not going to do it. Pull over at that gas station.
Why?
Pull over, Bert. Stop the car.
Oh, why, I said.
I want you to call the lieutenant, Bert.
I'm not going to do it. I can't.
Bert, I want you to prove to me that the past is really over with. I have to know that. Please, Bert, call the lieutenant.
I can't do it, Helen.
Why?
I have reason.
All right, then. I will.
Helen, don't, Helen.
Police department, please.
Helen, I told you can't do this.
Let go of that phone.
Helen, listen to me. Do you want to get the kids murdered?
What did you say?
I said, do you want to get the kids murdered?
You're just trying to scare me, aren't you, Bert?
Oh, no, Helen, I'm serious.
He wouldn't. Would he?
He would.
Can I still trust you, Bert? This hasn't... You wouldn't say this to...
I'll leave that up to you. I'll be waiting in the car.
Many heroes were born in the Korean War. One of them was Major General William F. Dean, Infantry, U.S. Army. General Dean was captured in August 1950. A month previous, he had become separated from his party while going to the aid of a wounded man. He wandered for 35 days, dazed and hungry, begging for food at farmhouses. Finally, he was betrayed by a South Korean who led him into ambush. As a prisoner of war, he was subjected to relentless interrogation. 32 hours, 44 hours, 68 hours at a stretch. Repeatedly, he refused to talk, and finally was ordered to put his refusal in writing. Perhaps, without really knowing, General Dean was helping to write Article 5 of the U.S. Fighting Man's Code of Conduct. When questioned, should I become a prisoner of war, I am bound to give only name, rank, service number, and date of birth. I will evade answering further questions to the utmost of my ability. I will make no oral or written statements disloyal to my country and its allies or harmful to their cause.
And now, starring John Lund, Act 3 of For Old Time's Sake.
Well, do you feel better now that you've done your duty as a citizen and taxpayer?
The lieutenant wasn't in.
Oh, good. That gives us a little time.
For what?
To use our heads. Helen, I don't have to tell the police anything. I'm not guilty of anything. Nobody but you knows that I served time.
That bank robber does.
Oh, he's taken it on the lam by now. And he won't be back unless, and get this, Helen, unless I go to the police. I know him. If I talk, he'll get me or you or the kids. Now, don't you see, the only sensible thing is to forget about it.
Yes, Bert, whatever you say.
Well, don't you see?
I don't know, Bert. This is the first time I've had anything to do with criminals. I guess I'll have to depend on your wider experience.
time will the kids be out of the show?
I don't know. They'll phone.
Oh, good. Give me time for a drink. I need one. What's for dinner?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Oh, come on, darling.
I'm sorry, Bert. This is one day when dinner is not uppermost on my mind.
All right, then. When the kids call, we'll both pick them up and we'll all eat out. How would you like that?
Whatever you say, Bert.
Hiya, pal.
What are you doing here?
Well, pal, we had a little trouble getting out of town. They got Bugsy, and I got one of the cops. I'm a little hot, so I thought how nice it is to have an old pal in town. Aren't you going to introduce me to the little woman?
Get out of here.
I like it here. I want to get acquainted with your family, Bert. Where are the kids?
Why, they're...
Oh, that's right. You said they were at the show. Be home soon?
I don't know.
Unless you leave this minute, I'm going to call the police.
Get away from that phone.
Bert, he's got a gun.
Sure I got a gun. And it shoots. Real bullets. Now sit down and shut up. Don't answer it.
But it might be the kids.
Oh, yeah, the kids. And they think something was wrong if Mommy and Daddy weren't home. Okay, go ahead and answer it, Bert. Tell them to get on the bus and come home.
No, Bert, don't let them come here. Tell them to go to the grandmother's. I don't want them here with this hoodlum.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that, doll. But just to show you what a nice guy I am, I'm going to let you talk to the kids. Go on, answer the phone.
Don't do anything foolish, Helen.
You better tell those little kiddies to get on the bus and go home. Or they ain't going to have no mama.
Please, Helen.
Hello? Oh, hello, honey. No, Daddy won't be able to pick you up. We want you and Cindy to take a bus and go to Grandmother's. Remember, Grandmother!
All right, doll, I want you.
Wait, Pinky. You're going to need us.
I'll still have you.
No, listen to me a minute. I can pick up the kids at the bus stop.
Don't do it, Bert!
One more word out of that woman and I'll kill her both of you. I'll kill you right now.
Let me handle it, Helen.
Lady, you got anything more to say? Come on. Just one word. Any word. Okay. Now, don't you open your mouth again. All right, Bert, go get the kids. No tricks. Believe me, it would be a pleasure to kill this woman of yours. If one lousy cop shows up, she's dead. Now beat it.
May I pose a problem to you? Put yourself down in a town, an isolated town, say in the wilds of northern Canada or in the middle of the Brazilian jungle. Now, in your town, you have 4 doctors, but in 2 other villages where you do business and where you have relatives, there are no doctors. And every once in a while, epidemics arise in these villages, killing off relatives you love and friends you've learned to love. What would you do about it? Would you sit idly by? Would you shrug your shoulders and say, it's their village, let them worry about it? Or would you feel that it is the responsibility of your town and your town's doctors to educate the people of the villages and to look after their health? If it were left up to you, wouldn't you do your best to form some organization that would take steps to save the people of these villages? Of course you would. It would be the only humane thing to do. That is what the World Health Organization is trying to do throughout the world. It is an agency of the United Nations, which is man's best hope for the world's health, peace, and justice.
And now, starring John Lund, Act 4 of For Old Time's Sake.
I left the house not knowing what to do. It wouldn't make any difference to Pinky how many people he killed. If I picked up the kids, there was a good chance they'd get it, too. But if I didn't, Helen would get it for sure. I was walking to my car when a squad car pulled up with 2 cops in front. Lieutenant Williams was one of them.
Going somewhere, Mr. Whitterfield?
What do you want?
I want to talk to your wife. The officer said she tried to call me.
She hasn't anything to say to you?
Well, as long as I'm here, I might as well hear it from her.
You got a search warrant?
I don't need a warrant to ring doorbell.
You're not going in, Lieutenant. Let go of that door. Look, don't, Lieutenant. You'll kill her. Who? The guy from the bank. He's in there with my wife.
Get that on the radio, Joe. Tell the boys to close in. Winterfield, get out of the way.
Give me a break, Lieutenant.
You've had all the breaks you'll get from me, mister.
For my wife's sake, listen to me.
All right, what's on your mind?
Give me a gun.
Give you a gun? Are you crazy?
I'm the only one who will get close enough to save her.
Even so, I can't give you a gun. How do I know you're not in this up to your ears?
Believe me, I'm not mixed up in the robbery. Sure, I'm an ex-con, and I know the guy. We work together. But I'm not mixed up in this one. Please, Lieutenant, for my wife's sake.
Are you sure he'll kill her? Might be bluffed.
Oh, no, Lieutenant. I know this man.
All right, Winterfield. I'll take a chance on you. I hope I won't live to regret it.
You won't, Lieutenant.
Oh, those idiots. Joe, tell them to shut off the sirens. Probably did it. I'm sorry, Winterfield.
Give me the gun, Lieutenant.
The guy can hear the siren. He's going to know that something's up.
I got to take that chance. Give me the gun.
Okay, Winterfield. Here you are. Good luck.
Get away, Bert. He's going to kill you.
Can you hear me, Bert?
I can hear you, Pinky.
Don't come in, Bert.
Shall I kill a bird, or are you coming in?
I'm coming in, Pinky. Okay, drop the gun.
Are you dirty rat?
You all right, Bert?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Is he dead?
Are you two okay?
Yeah. But Pinky's dead, Lieutenant. I had to kill him.
Yeah. He's dead, all right. I guess a lot of things died with him.
Well, that's up to you, Lieutenant.
And why don't you come in and tell me the whole story one of these days?
I'll be glad to. I got nothing to hide now, have I, Helen?
Nothing, darling.
Well, then, let's go find those kids of ours.
Suspense, in which John Lund starred in William N. Robeson's production of For Old Time's Sake, written by Gordon Christian. Supporting John Lund in For Old Time's Sake were Virginia Gregg, Bill Quinn, and Joe DeSantis. Listen. Listen again next week when we return with another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Suspense has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
And the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
We who are in the business of keeping you in suspense find ourselves in a quandary at this time of the year. The elements of suspense, murder, mayhem, and macabre mischief are awkwardly out of place at this festival of peace and love. Yet that first Christmas was full of suspense. There was the problem of lodgings for the delicate mother that chill evening when there was no room at the inn. And there was great mystery when suddenly the star appeared in the east. Finally, there was the magnificent climax and happy ending when the three kings of the Orient arrived at last bearing gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. We feel that we cannot improve upon this tale, so we will bring you another, along with our best wishes for a most Merry Christmas. Listen then as Mr. Raymond Burr stars in Out for Christmas, which begins in just a moment.
Here's actress Joan Bennett.
It's terrible to try to act with a dreadful cold. To feel better quickly, I take 4-way cold tablets, the fast way to relieve nasty cold distress.
Yes, tests of 4 leading cold tablets proved 4-way fastest acting of all. Amazing 4-way starts in minutes to relieve aches, pains, headache, reduce fever, calm upset stomach, also overcomes irregularity.
When you catch cold, try my way. Take 4-way cold tablets, the fast way to relieve cold distress.
4-way, 29 and 59 cents.
Here's a word about another fine product of Grove Laboratories. Had dandruff for years? Now get rid of it in 3 minutes with Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo. 3 minutes with Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep unsightly dandruff away forever. Apply Fitch before wetting hair. Rub in 1 minute. Add water. Lather 1 minute. Then rinse 1 minute. Every trace of dandruff goes down the drain. 3 minutes with Fitch. Embarrassing dandruff's gone. Fitch can also leave hair up to 35% brighter. Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo today.
And now, Out for Christmas, starring Mr. Raymond Burr. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I hadn't figured on being out for Christmas, but my prison record paid off. Takes a lot of good behavior to knock time off and armed robbery and assault rap, but I was a good boy, model prisoner. Took everything they threw at me with not exactly with a smile. I don't smile much. But I took it without griping, so I'm out for Christmas. And Christmas is as good a time as any for what I gotta do. The town looked cruddy. They got phony tin Christmas trees and the lampposts along the main drag and colored lights all over the joint, and Christmas carols screeching at you from loudspeakers everywhere. Even the saloons got red and green streamers all over the place, and the bar mirrors all frosted like snow. And a big bowl of slop called Tom and Jerry they're pushing.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
What'll it be? A little Christmas cheer? Hot Tom and Jerry, maybe?
Ain't you got any whiskey?
Oh, sure. We got whiskey.
Give me a straight shot.
Okay.
Can't you get anything on that jukebox but them Christmas carols?
Don't you like carols?
Oh, they stink.
You won't think so after you get a couple of belts under your belt.
Do you think so?
Sure. It's Christmas, man.
Yeah, so I heard. That tastes good. Real good.
Say, you look sort of familiar. Don't I know you from someplace?
I was wondering how long it'd take.
The voice is familiar, and your eyes sort of...
Joe Watson.
Joe! I heard you was going to get out soon. Charlie Jones told me. But I didn't know you'd be out for Christmas.
Yeah, they got big-hearted.
Say, you put on a little weight. That's why I didn't recognize you.
30 pounds, prison child.
But you look real good, Joe. Real good.
Yeah. Hey, where's Charlie? You been in tonight?
Not yet, but he'll be around probably.
Gotta see him. You know where he's living at?
Yeah, he's got a room over on 4th Street.
Room? I figured he'd be living in a flop house.
Oh, not Charlie. He's doing okay since he got out. Got a steady job. How about you, Joe? You got a job lined up?
Yeah, I got a job lined up.
A good job?
It'll be good. As good as I can make it.
Last-minute shopping really got you down? Or you dashing and prancing all over the town? You bought a lot of presents and you still have lots to go? Well,
Go, get a Scripto.
you don't have to know a size. You don't worry about the fit. A new Scripto pen or pencil always makes a hit. For Mom or Dad or Sister, Aunt Jane or Uncle Joe.
Go, get a Scripto. Go, get a Scripto. Get a Scripto.
Here's the easy, convenient way to finish all your Christmas shopping in a matter of minutes. With Scripto pens and pencils, available at stores everywhere. All Scriptos, costing $1 or more, are handsomely gift-boxed. See the famous Scripto Satellite. The Satellite outrights any other pen you've ever used. Costs only $1.95. Enjoy one-stop gift shopping.
Go, get a Scripto.
Give a Scripto.
Scripto.
And now, starring Mr. Raymond Burr, Act 2 of Out for Christmas.
at this rooming house where Charlie was staying, loused up for Christmas. There was a moth-eaten poinsettia wreath in the door and red and green lights in the landlady's window. Charlie's room was on the 4th floor at the back.
Joe!
Yeah.
Oh, so they let you out for Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, come on in. Gee, it's good to see you, Joe.
Good to see you, Charlie. Hey, what you got there?
Oh, that's an electric train. Just a minute, I'll turn it off.
Electric train? What for?
Oh, my sister's kid. That's all he talks about for Christmas. An electric train. So I got him one at a discount at the place where I work, but I wanted to see if it works okay. You know how it is.
Yeah. So what's the idea of the Christmas tree?
Well, living by myself and all, I thought I'd have my own tree. It's just a little one.
You lost your marbles?
Well, it's Christmas, Joe.
Guys in cell block 4 ought to see you now playing with electric trains into your own Christmas tree.
Well, I bet they'd like to be doing the same thing.
Not me. Did you check up on Malloy like I asked you to?
Yeah? Yes, he's still on the police force.
Good. You got a gun?
No, I don't have no use for guns anymore.
Know where I can get one?
Well, sure, I guess I could locate one.
Well, I told you to. In my last letter, I told you. Get a gun for me, I said.
I know, Joe, but look, pal, I thought that... Well, I hope maybe you'd change your mind.
Charlie, from the day he testified against me, I swore I'd get him. His testimony did it, you know. That's what convicted me. He sent me up.
He had to testify the way he did.
He didn't have to be so convincing.
But, Joe, what good'll it do? You'll only get the chair.
I'm not afraid of the chair. I've seen enough of life that stinks. I ain't in love with it. I'd just as soon leave it so long as I take that rat with me.
But it ain't only him, Joe.
What do you mean?
He's married now.
You kidding? What kind of a dizzy broad would want him?
You ain't gonna like this, Joe.
Ain't gonna like what?
The dizzy broad that married him is Lucille.
Lucille? My Lucille.
That's right. I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah. Funny. Yeah, it's real funny. She wrote me. She couldn't wait for me no longer. You remember when I got the letter.
I remember.
But she didn't say who it was. She never answered my letters after that with a lousy double cross.
Well, you went up for 10 to 20, Joe.
Yeah. I guess she never counted on me making it an 8 and time off for good behavior.
But 8 years is a long time for a young girl to wait, Joe.
Mike Malloy, the fine guy to throw me over for. Well, makes it dandy. Double dandy. It'll be a pleasure to kill them both.
Oh, how can you talk that way, Joe? It's Christmas.
Christmas is for people who don't know no better. Kids and idiots.
Joe, listen to me now. Forget all about Malloy and Lucille. You got a chance to make a new life for yourself. Like I'm doing. I can get you a job where I'm working. I'm sure I can.
What are you doing?
I'm Santa Claus in the toy department at Brighton's department store.
Ain't no future in that. You're going to be out of work day after tomorrow.
No, I'm not. They promised to keep me on.
Doing what? Minding the reindeer?
Well, Mr. Brighton believes in giving guys like us a chance. Now, that's why I'm sure that you can get a job there. You come down tomorrow and talk to him.
I'll talk to him after Christmas.
Hey, good. Oh, say, how about coming over to my sister's house for Christmas dinner day after tomorrow?
Yeah, I might even do that.
Good. You see, Joe, there ain't no sense in carrying around hatred in your heart, especially at Christmas time. So let Malloy and Lucille have their Christmas in peace.
They'll have their Christmas all right. Their last Christmas.
But then it'll be your last one, too.
I just got to figure different. Never mind the gun. I'll get my own gun tomorrow. But there is one thing I want from you.
What's that, Joe?
Tomorrow night, I want to borrow your Santa Claus suit.
Holiday hustle make you queasy, stomach nervous and uneasy? Then...
Do you know about the little white tablets in the little green pocket roll? Just a-waiting for the moment when you need 'em to bring your acid indigestion under control. Tums are the little white tablets in the little green pocket roll. Tums for the tummy, Tums. Bring relief quick
during the busy, bustling season, get quick relief from annoying acid indigestion. Always carry Tums, 10 cents. 3-roll pack, a quarter. Or get the new 6-roll pack with free metal carrier, 49 cents.
And now, starring Mr. Raymond Burr, Act 3 of Out for Christmas.
Next day, I did my Christmas shopping for a gun. Last night, I wrapped Charlie's Santa Claus suit into a bundle, took a bus out to the subdivision where Malloy and Lucille had a house. I ducked into an alley behind the supermarket and pulled on the red suit, whiskers and all. It was going to be so easy I had to laugh. You couldn't want a better disguise on Christmas Eve for murder. I didn't have any trouble finding the house, a little box of a house like all the others in the street and decorated with colored lights like all the others. Nobody saw me, even if they had. Who has a better right than Santa Claus to be on the streets Christmas Eve? The gun felt cold in my pocket as I closed my fist around it and pushed the bell. Even it was wired for Christmas.
Yes?
Merry Christmas.
Why, it's Santa Claus.
Aren't you going to ask me in?
Well, my husband isn't home yet.
That's all right. I'll come in and wait for him.
I don't understand.
If you don't believe in Santa Claus anymore, Lucille, you ought to.
Who are you?
Don't you recognize my voice?
You sound like...
Joe?
Oh, no.
Good old Joe. He was going to wait for me, no matter how long it took.
Joe, I thought you were...
In the cooler for keeps? I told you I'd come back for you. Here I am.
Well, you're too late, Joe.
Yeah, so I hear. How come you didn't wait, Lucille?
I fell in love.
With the guy who sent me to prison? For a no-good cop?
He didn't send you to prison, Joe. You were guilty.
I'd have beat the rap if he hadn't testified the way he
He
did.
had to testify that way. He was only telling the truth.
Yeah, so you could get me out of the way and steal my girl.
Joe, you've got things all twisted. It all happened afterwards. I only met him at your trial. We fell in love afterwards.
When I couldn't protect myself.
Oh, Joe, I'm sorry. It just happened.
You're telling me. Where's the fuzz?
Who?
The copper, your old man.
He's still on duty.
Working overtime to put the arm on some stiff on Christmas Eve. When will he be home?
I expect him any time now.
Good. I'm going to be glad to see him.
Why, when you hate him so?
Well, you see, I promised him something. Didn't he ever tell you?
No.
I promised to kill him when I got out.
Joe.
Tonight's the night, see?
What do you mean it? You've got a gun.
Sure, I got a gun. And I'm going to use it. On both of you.
Both of us?
You both double-crossed me. I could kill you first, but I think I'll wait till your old man comes home. Ought to be interesting to see how he acts. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he tried to make a deal with me.
A deal?
Yeah, like shoot my wife but let me go free.
What a terrible thing to say.
You see what kind of a creep you married.
Joe, do it then. But do it because I ask you. Kill me and let him go.
I come to get you both. And I'm going to get you both. Together. How about some music while we're waiting? Turn on the radio. Go on, turn it on. He made you happy, Lucy?
Yeah, Joe. Very.
You made him happy?
I hope so.
That's nice. Because tonight you're both going to make me happy. By becoming very dead.
It's too loud.
What's that?
Oh, little Lucy, the radio woke her.
You got kids?
Yeah.
Where you going?
I have to look in on her and quiet her.
Don't try nothing funny. I'll be right behind you.
Oh, there now, honey. There. It's all right. Mommy just turned the radio on too loud.
Scared Mommy. Mommy, look behind you. It's Santa Claus.
Yes, it is. Santa Claus.
Oh, Mikey! Mikey, wake up! Huh? Mikey, look, it's Santa Claus! Santa Claus? Santa Claus? I want to see Santa Claus!
Time to jam the gun back into my pocket before those two kids were wide awake and all over me, grabbing up my red suit, pulling up my phony whiskers, pushing me into a chair.
Did you bring your present, Santa Claus? Did you? Where your reindeer, Santa? John, Mikey, I want to sit on his lap.
Get rid of these chicks.
Oh, I can't. Where's my present, Santa?
Well,
what did you do with the reindeers? What did you do with the reindeers?
Well, they're parked outside, Mikey, on the roof.
Did you come down the chimney?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Why aren't you closer? Did the fire burn you?
Well, no, you see, it's an asbestos suit. Now, listen, you kids ought to go back to bed.
Oh, no, Santa, please, we want our presents. I want to see the reindeer.
See, you gotta get them off me.
I'm so excited, Joe. They've never had a tame Santa Claus before.
I hate no Santa Claus.
To them you are.
Yeah.
Santa Claus?
What?
I want to kiss you. Me too.
All right, you kids. Now, listen to me.
Yes, Santa Claus, I'm listening. Me too.
You gotta go back to bed now.
I want my presents. Me too.
You'll get your presents in the morning when you wake up. They'll be under the tree.
You promise?
I promise. Now, you run off to bed. On account, I gotta get going. Now, you wouldn't want the other boys and girls to miss their presents because I've been goofing off with you, would you?
Oh, no, that wouldn't be fair.
All right, then. Off to bed you go.
All right. Come on, Mikey. Merry Christmas, Santa Claus. Me too.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, kids. And good night.
Good night. Come on, Mikey.
Oh, Joe. They'll never forget that.
Yeah. Neither do I.
Merry Christmas, honey. I'm sorry I'm late. Hey, what's this?
It's Joe Watson, Mike.
Joe Watson? What the devil are you doing here?
He came to kill us.
What? Take it easy, Mike. Here's my gun.
You changed your mind?
Your kids changed my mind.
They thought he was really Santa Claus, darling. They were so excited.
Now, Mike, you can send me up again. Better to go back for a parole violation, I guess, than for murder.
Well, wait a minute. We gotta have a complaining witness. You want to make a complaint, Lucille?
No, Mike. I want to thank Joe for giving the kids the best Christmas of their lives.
Well, I haven't any complaint then. Merry Christmas, Joe.
I still say Christmas is for people who don't know no better. Like kids and idiots. Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Written, produced, and directed by William N. Robeson. In just a moment, the names of the supporting players and a word about next week's story of suspense.
Christmas Eve on CBS Radio, Bing Crosby invites you to celebrate Christmas with the world on our 4th annual Christmas Sing with Bing. With Bing as your guide and CBS Radio as your magic carpet, you'll visit Rome to hear the Vatican Choir. There, too, you'll hear the sound of the bells of St. Peter's as they ring for the holiday Mass. On our Christmas Sing with Bing, you'll visit New York and Salt Lake City, Canada, Australia, Holland, France, even places like Hawaii, Alaska, and the Fiji Islands, where carolers and choirs will be waiting to sing the traditional Christmas songs with you. To add to the excitement this year, Mrs. Bing Crosby, Catherine Grant, will be at her husband's side. Whether you spend Christmas Eve at home or out on the highway heading for a holiday destination, join us right here on CBS Radio, as most of these same stations present our 4th annual Christmas Sing with Bing.
Supporting Raymond Burr in Out for Christmas were Joan Banks, Lillian Bayef, Charles Seal, Carl Swenson, Howard McNear, and Dick Beals. Listen. Listen again next week when we return with Mr. Frank Lovejoy, starring in The 32nd of December. Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
The 32nd of December, starring Mr. Frank Lovejoy. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
New Year's Eve. As far as I was concerned, when I got up the morning of December 31st, it could stay 1958 forever. The only trouble is time doesn't work that way. Time is a downhill ride in a car with no brakes. You can't stop it even if your life depends on it. And mine did.
Joe, your breakfast is getting cold.
I'm coming. All I have time for is a cup of coffee anyway. What is this, milk? Don't we ever have anything but milk to put in the coffee?
You know we can't afford cream these days. We can hardly afford to eat.
Molly, you'll be wearing mink yet. Just give me a little more time.
Yeah, you've been saying that ever since you got married.
Well, sooner or later, Molly, I'm going to make it. By the way, honey, let me have your ring.
Why?
Well, you said the diamond's loose. I'll drop it at the jeweler's on my way to the office.
Oh, we can't afford to get it fixed now.
Molly, that's an expensive ring. We can't afford not to take care of it.
Joe, have you been gambling again?
Oh, now, Molly, I told you, I'm all through with that.
You told me the same thing just before you pawned your watch. And the cufflinks I gave you on our first anniversary.
I'm not going to pawn your engagement ring. Now, let me have it. I'll pick it up on my way home tonight.
Well, all right, but, Joe...
What?
Remember, it's very precious, at least to me.
Sure, I've been gambling again. I was in the hole back. The boys wanted to pay off by midnight, and this time they weren't going to take no for an answer. If I couldn't raise the dough on Molly's ring, I didn't know what I'd do. The pawn shop was like any other pawn shop. Dirty and gloomy, full of junk, with clocks ticking all over the place. One thing caught my eye as soon as I came in. In the front case, a watch. Curiously ornate, obviously very old. It sort of glowed in the case. I couldn't take my eyes off it.
You like to look at the watch?
No. No, it's very interesting, but, how much can I get on this ring?
On this, I can lend you $150.
$150? The guy I won it off claimed it was worth more than 1,000.
150.
I can probably get 500 for it easy.
Then you would be foolish to accept my offer.
That's the best you can do.
150.
I'll take it.
I will get the money.
While I waited, I felt my eyes drawn to the antique watch again. I picked it up. It felt warm in my hand, almost as if it were alive. Its face was covered with all sorts of dials and figures. The date of the month, phase of the moon, even the signs of the zodiac. Some of the dials I couldn't read at all. They were inscribed with strange characters, like hieroglyphics or ancient Sanskrit. Suddenly, I felt I had to have that watch.
100, 20, 40, 45, 150.
Can you tell me what all these dials mean?
I can tell you only that this watch controls many kinds of time. The fellow who pawned it claimed it could make time pass as slowly or as rapidly as he desired.
That's a pretty good trick.
Mm-hmm. But only a trick. Time is different for each of us, is it not?
What do you mean?
To men sitting on a hot stove, 1 second lasts forever. But to a man making love, forever is only a second.
Yeah, I see what you mean. How much are you asking for the watch?
$150. Excuse me. Hello. Yes, one moment, please. Is your name Joe Adcock?
Yeah, why?
Yes, Mr. Adcock is here.
Who is it?
Who is calling? Hello. Hello? That is odd.
Nobody knew I was coming here. Who was it?
He did not identify himself. He just said, I would not believe him. Then he hung up.
Funny. Say, now what about the guy who pawned this watch? Any chance of him wanting it back?
No, Mr. Adcock. He will not return for it. He has no further use for the watch.
Okay. Well, then I'll take it. I don't know why, but I've got to have it. I had no business buying the watch. It was a crazy thing to do. I hadn't walked more than a few steps from the pawn shop when I learned just how crazy.
Hold it, Adcock.
Well, who are you?
Just one of the boys.
What do you want?
A little talk. Private. In the alley here.
But I don't have
In the alley.
Ow, my arm.
You got the grand, Adcock?
I got until midnight to get it.
Yeah, that's right. The boss just wants me to make sure you don't forget. Like last time.
Oh, I won't forget, I promise.
I'll be waiting for you at midnight. Right here by the pawn shop. Oh, and one more thing.
So what is it?
Oh. That's just to make sure you don't forget. If you don't show up with the dough, there ain't going to be no New Year for you. You understand?
Yes, I understand.
Good. See you at midnight.
I had to get back to 150. Maybe I could make a fast killing at the track with it, or something. I had to get it back.
Oh, back so soon, Mr. Adcock?
Yes, I made a mistake.
We all make mistakes. That is life.
Look, I've got to have that money back. Here's your watch.
My watch, Mr. Adcock? This is your watch. You bought it.
But I don't want it. I want the money.
A deal is a deal.
But you don't understand.
It is you who do not understand, Mr. Adcock. To sell the watch, you must find a buyer. I am not buying.
Look, you've got to help me. Well, will you take the watch and pawn?
Of course. That is my business.
So how much can I get for it?
$5.
$5? Just a few minutes ago, I paid $150 for it.
It is unfortunate that I do not value it so highly now. $5?
No, thanks. $5 wouldn't help me. I had to have money, big money. My only chance now was to try to borrow it.
I know you've had an account here for years, Mr. Adcock, and of course we like to do what we can for our regular customers, but unless you have some collateral...
Well, what kind of collateral?
Oh, stocks, bonds, real estate.
If I had that kind of stuff, I wouldn't need the loan.
500? Joe, you're crazy. Hey, bartender, another beer.
All right, Harry. Make it a C note. Anything.
Yeah, well, what about the C note you borrowed last August?
Oh, I'll pay you back. Honest.
Yeah, I heard that last August.
Oh, Harry, how long have you known me?
10 years, I guess.
All right, 10 years. Doesn't it count for anything?
For a C note, it don't.
Oh, but Harry...
No.
Not a dime. Not a lousy dime. Only one thing left to do.
Central Flower Shop.
Molly, I want you to come home right now.
Joe, aren't you at work?
No, I'm home.
What's the matter? Are you sick?
I'm all right. Just come home and hurry.
Joe, what's wrong?
We've got to get out of town. Fast. It took only a few minutes to throw everything Molly and I owned into suitcases. I kept looking at the watch, wondering when Molly was going to show up.
Signal, the correct time will be 2:30.
2:30? What's keeping her? Well, at least the watch is on time. I wonder when I ought to wind it. Might as well do it right now. If I can figure out which one of these knobs to use. Try this one. What the devil? Where did the sun go? It was shining a minute ago. Now it's snowing. Oh, blasted, I did get the wrong knob. I moved it back to the 28, so now I've got... Hey, wait a minute. The 28th was Sunday, the day we had the big snowstorm. Could the watch have... Ah, that's impossible. I set it back to the 31st, and I... What the... Now the sun is shining. Did the watch change the day, or am I losing my mind? Maybe I could set it again. Let me see. I was in that pawn shop just before 1 o'clock. I set the hour hand back to 12:45. There. Now we'll see.
Hello?
Is this the 3rd Avenue pawn shop? Is Joe Adcock there?
One moment, please. Is your name Joe Adcock? Yes, Mr. Adcock is here. Who is calling?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you. I could hardly believe it myself. But there was no question about it. The watch did control time. Once I grasped that fact, I began to realize its implications. For the first time in my life, I could have all the time I needed, all the time I wanted.
Joe! Oh, Joe, what's wrong?
Not a thing, Molly, not a thing.
But you said we had to leave town.
Oh, did I? Well, that's all over now.
Joe, what are you talking about? I'll probably lose my job.
Now, don't get excited. Well, I might as well tell you the whole story. I lied to you about the gambling, Molly. I'm $1,000 in debt. I've got to pay off by midnight, but...
You pawned my ring, didn't you?
But now, don't worry. I'll get it back.
You lied to me.
I said I'll get it
You
back.
have no right to pawn it. It's mine. I want my ring.
All right, I'll get it.
Now, right now.
I haven't got time now. I've got to get back to the bank before it closes.
Get my ring, you promised.
Will you quit nagging me about your blasted ring? Let me get back to the bank. We'll have enough money to buy you a dozen rings.
Joe, what are you going to do?
I'm going to rob the bank. What else? Robbing the bank would be as easy as taking pennies from a blind man. It was 2 minutes to 3 when I walked into the bank and headed for the vault.
Oh, hello, Mr. Adcock. Back again, I see.
Yeah, I've got to get into my safety deposit box.
Certainly. Go right ahead.
Good. Nobody else in here. Now, I just turned the watch back to Sunday, the 28th. It worked. I'm watching the ball, and it's Sunday. Now, let's see what it's already cash. There it is. Stacks of it, and all mine. Well, that's plenty for now. Enough to pay the mob and more. There's always more when it comes from. Now, reset the watch to December 31st. Perfect. The perfect crime. All I have to do is get out of here without letting them see the money.
Mr. Adcock.
Yes?
A happy and prosperous New Year to you, sir.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot. Molly! Hey, Molly. Molly, it worked. We're rich.
Have you been drinking?
No, not a drop. Here, look at this. Go on. Take them up. They're real.
Oh. These are $1,000 bills. Where did you get them?
I robbed the bank.
Oh, come on, Joe.
I always told you I'd make it big someday. Well, today is the day. Now, you go out and buy yourself a dress. We're going to celebrate New Year's Eve in style.
Happy New Year, Joe. Happy New Year.
Yeah, come on. Let's get out of this crowd.
It's almost midnight. I thought we were going to celebrate. You were going to take me to a nightclub.
Yeah. But first, I got to meet a guy at midnight. Come on.
Ooh.
A guy. I've got to pay off that gambling debt.
Well, where are you meeting him?
It's just a block away in front of the pawn shop.
The pawn shop? My ring. Joe, you forgot my ring.
Oh, for Pete's sake. I'll get your lousy ring back. Just give me a little time.
Oh, a little time. That's the story of your life, isn't it, Joe? Just give me a little time. All right, I'll give you all the time you want, all the rest of your life. I'm through with you, Joe. I just can't take it anymore.
Molly, don't leave me. Molly, come back.
Happy New Year.
Well, what happened? Molly just disappeared. The street is deserted. Molly! Hey, where is everybody? I wonder if this crazy watch had anything to do with the 32nd. It should have clicked over to January 1st. Oh, no wonder everybody disappeared. There isn't any 32nd of December. I'll just reset it. It's stuck. It won't budge. Oh, it's got to move. It's just... Oh, no. It can't be broken. I can't stay in the 32nd of December forever. I've got to fix it. I've got to get the back off. I've got to get it to work. There. But there's nothing inside. It's the 32nd of December. And it will always be the 32nd of December.
Suspense on CBS Radio.
Suspense. And the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
The ensuing half hour is not intended as propaganda to abolish the relationship between mothers and sons. The twin institutions of filial piety and motherhood have survived too long under the aegis of the Fourth Commandment to stand in any grave danger of dissolution by a single dramatic diatribe. No, the tale you are about to hear merely seeks to point out that there can be too much of a good thing. And as someone said, be moderate in all things. We cry forbearance to mothers and beseech sons to render fully unto them only those things which are theirs, reserving all else for the women who will become the mothers of their children. Listen then as Miss Agnes Moorehead stars in Don't Call Me Mother, which begins in just a minute.
Here's Frankie Lane. I never feel like singing with a bad cold, so I take wonderful 4-way cold tablets to relieve my cold misery fast.
Right. Tests of 4 leading cold tablets proved 4-way fastest acting of all. Amazing 4-way starts in minutes to relieve aches, pains, headache, reduce fever, calm upset stomach, also overcomes irregularity.
So when you catch cold, take my advice. Take 4-way cold tablets. It's the fast way to relieve those nasty cold miseries and feel better quickly.
4-way, 29 and 59 cents. Here's a word about another fine product of Grove Laboratories. Does dandruff dull your hair, leave scalp itchy? Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo and get rid of unsightly dandruff in 3 minutes. 3 minutes with Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep embarrassing dandruff away forever. Apply Fitch before wetting hair. Rub in 1 minute. Add water. Lather 1 minute. Rinse 1 minute. Every trace of dandruff goes down the drain. 3 minutes with Fitch, unsightly dandruff's gone. Fitch can also leave your hair up to 35% brighter. Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo.
And now, Don't Call Me Mother, starring Miss Agnes Moorehead. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
We were so happy together. Larry's father passed on when he was a little boy, and from that day on I devoted my life to him, and as he grew, he devoted his to me. Laurie and Larry, what a lovely couple they make. My friends would joke, but it was true. We were a lovely couple. I and my handsome, tall son, everything a mother could ask for, considerate, polite, intelligent, and a good provider.
Mother?
Yes, dear?
Mother, I wonder if I could bring a friend home for dinner Saturday.
Why, of course, dear.
We're going to be out riding all day, and we'll be pretty hungry. Will you make your famous beef stew the way I like it?
The dumplings and the meat cut into teeny-weeny bite sizes the way you liked it when you were a teeny-weeny little boy.
Well, you don't have to go that far. I can cut my own meat now.
Well, of course you can. I was just teasing.
Well, don't tease me on Saturday, will you please, Mother?
Is this a special friend?
Yes.
What's his name?
It isn't a him. It's a her.
A girl?
Yes, Mother.
Why, Larry, what's come over you? You've never been interested in girls.
Don't you think it's about time I am?
I can't imagine why.
Mother, the time comes when a man...
Well, you're still a boy, Larry.
I'm 25, Mother, and please remember that on Saturday.
All right, if you'll remember something, too.
What?
Something you've forgotten just now.
Well, what, Mother?
When you bring this woman to dinner, please remember to call me Laurie, not Mother. Do have another piece of persimmon pie, Roberta.
Oh, I really couldn't, Mrs. Ryder. It's delicious, but I couldn't eat another bite.
Larry, you will.
No, thank you, Mother. Laurie?
But you've hardly eaten a thing, dear.
I've had 2 pieces, Laurie.
Such a wonderful dinner. I don't think I could ever learn to cook a meal like that.
Oh, I don't know. It just takes practice.
Oh, I could never find the time. What with my job?
Well, no matter what, I've always managed to have a hot meal on the table for my Larry, haven't I, dear?
Yes, Laurie. Some more coffee, Roberta?
Thank you, Larry. You're older than Larry, aren't you, Roberta?
A little. I'm 28.
Larry always seems younger than his age. He's led a very sheltered life.
He doesn't seem too young to me.
Really?
Well, I mean, Larry's a man.
Is he? Well, I suppose to a mother, a son never really grows up. But then you wouldn't know about that.
I hope to, someday.
Well, I'm sure you will. When the right man comes along for you.
Mrs. Ryder, the right man has come along for me.
He has? Well, congratulations, my dear. I hope you'll be very happy.
We expect to be, don't we, darling?
Yes, dear.
Larry, is this true?
Well, yes, Mother. Roberta and I are going to be married.
Oh? Oh, no. You can't. You can't, Larry.
Mother, what is it? What's the matter? Roberta, hand me a glass of water. Here, Mother. Take some of this.
Honey.
But, Mother, what is it?
Oh, Larry, I didn't want you to know.
Know what, Mother?
Now you do.
I don't know what you're talking about.
My heart, Larry. I have a heart condition. Sudden shock. The doctor said I must be careful.
Oh, Mother.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Ryder. I shouldn't have sprung it on you so suddenly.
Well, the doctor warned me again.
You just lie down on the couch and rest for a few moments.
No, I'm all right. I'm all right now. Well, as you see, Roberta, I need Larry.
So do I, Mrs. Ryder. I love him.
Well, so do I. And anyway, my dear, you're much too old for him.
So are you.
What do you mean by that remark?
Merely that it's time you let him go. It's time you let him grow up.
Larry, are you going to let this woman insult me and you...
We've talked it all over, Laurie. She's right.
I won't give you my permission. I'll never give you my permission.
I'd like your permission and your blessing, Laurie, but I don't need it. I am of age, you know.
You mean to say you'd walk out on your poor sick mother, leave her alone to die? Yes, literally to die of a broken heart.
Of course not, Mother. We'll take care of you.
Of course. If you're really sick, you can live with us.
Never. So long as I'm alive, Larry belongs with me.
Mrs. Ryder, I've got to say this. Larry and I are going to be married. Even if it's the death of you.
Then listen to me, Roberta, and you listen carefully. If you try to take Larry away from me, it'll be the death of you.
Do you know about the little white tablets in the little green pocket roll? Just a-waiting for the moment when you need 'em to bring your acid indigestion under control. Tums are the little white tablets in the little green pocket roll. Tums for the tummy, Tums. Bring relief quicker than you'd ever guess. Best for any kind of acid distress. Keep 'em handy in the pocket roll. Keep your tummy under Tums control.
Tums are fast, effective, and safe. Tums relieve the discomfort of acid indigestion quickly with no danger of acid rebound, sometimes caused by harsh alkalizers. Always carry Tums, 10 cents. 3-roll pack, a quarter. New Tums 6-roll pack with free metal carrier, 49 cents. And now, starring Miss Agnes Moorehead, Act 2 of Don't Call Me Mother.
It was wrong. All wrong for Larry to get married. This woman was too old for him. She was not good enough for him. She was, who knows what. Just someone who works in the same office. Don't you see, Larry?
I've known her for more than a year.
You've kept her a very big secret.
I had to. I knew you wouldn't like the idea.
But you went right on seeing her behind my back.
Yes, until I was sure.
And you're sure?
I'm sure, Mother.
Don't call me Mother. What are you sure of, Larry?
That I'm in love with her.
Love? What's love?
It's something we've each got to find out about in his own way.
Well, isn't my love enough for you?
No.
Larry.
I'm sorry, Laurie, but the way I feel about Roberta is different from the way I feel about you. I'm sure that there's enough love in my heart for both of you.
Oh, Larry, my dear, sweet little boy, trying so hard to be grown up.
Please.
Don't you suppose Laurie knows what's best for you? Hasn't Laurie always been right?
Yes, of course you have, but this is a decision a man must make for himself.
Without any consideration for others?
I have considered you. I will always look after you.
I wasn't thinking of myself. I was thinking of Roberta.
Roberta?
Yes. Will you always look after Roberta?
Of course.
Will you always be able?
Well, of course, barring unforeseen accidents.
Your accident has already occurred.
What do you mean?
You were born.
What?
You never should have been born, Larry.
Why? Why do you say that?
Because your father was insane.
Mother.
Don't call me Mother.
Why didn't you tell me before?
Well, I hoped I never would have to. I've always told you he died when you were a baby. Well, he didn't die. He was taken away to an asylum. He lived a long, long time, until quite recently. He was insane. Hopelessly insane.
Have I inherited?
No one can be sure. The doctors don't know. But do you want to take that chance? Do you want to put Roberta through what I've been through? Don't you see, my dear, if you really love her, you'll give her up.
Yes, I suppose so.
And you will? Won't you, dear?
I don't know, Mother. I don't know what to do now.
I've never heard a more cockeyed story in my life. You don't believe it, do you, Larry?
Of course I do.
Do you think if this were true, she could ever have kept quiet about it so long?
Why not?
Because she thrives on emotional blackmail. She'd have used this long ago to get her way. Just the way she used that phony heart attack the other night.
Phony?
Sure. She's as strong as an ox. Her heart's probably in better shape than mine. At least since you started making it beat faster.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't be. I like it that way. Don't you see, darling? Your sainted mother is using every trick in the book to break us up.
But this thing about my father...
Well, what difference does it make?
You don't care if he was insane?
Of course not. He couldn't have been nuttier than I am.
What?
I must be crazy to be in love with you.
I guess so.
But I am.
Sometimes I wonder why you're so bright and strong and so capable, and I'm just me.
And I like you being just you.
I wish it didn't upset Mother so.
Listen to me, Larry, my boy. It's about time your mother learned the facts of life. And fact number 1 is that boys will be boys, and being boys, they are bound to like girls. And the girls they like are never, never, never the girls their mothers like, because their mothers don't like any girls messing around with their little boys.
Yes, I suppose you're right.
You know darn well I'm right. Now that that's taken care of, when are you going to make me an honest woman?
I don't know. Soon, I hope.
Soon? When?
Well, I want to talk to Mother once more.
Talk to her. You can't talk to her. Tell her. Tell her we're going to get married. And then tell her for me to drop dead.
But he didn't tell me anything until it was too late.
And, so, Mother...
Don't call me Mother.
Laurie, we just dropped by to tell you we were married this morning.
Oh. What do you expect me to do?
Well, I'd like to know that you don't hold any hard feelings against me.
You know my feelings in this matter. They haven't changed.
This may sound corny, Mrs. Ryder, but it would be nice to begin our married life with your blessing.
You get no blessing from me, you kidnapper.
Oh, come now, Mrs. Ryder.
You're a witch. Strumpets, you're a thief.
Well, let's go, Larry. We're not getting any place.
You can't take my son from me. He's mine. He'll always be mine. Nothing you can do will ever change that. Love him. Go on. Love him as much as you know how. Give him everything you have. It'll mean nothing to him because you aren't me. Go on, take him away. Take him to the ends of the earth and he'll come back to me. Because he was meant for me, and I was meant for him. Laurie and Larry. And everybody's saying what a lovely couple they make. I warned her. You can't say I didn't warn her. She went into this thing with her eyes wide open, and she must face the consequences. So I went to work. My butcher was the first person I confided to because I knew he liked to share secrets with all his customers.
Well, Mrs. Ryder, I hear you lost a son and gained a daughter.
That's right, Mr. Stearns.
Kind of sudden, wasn't it?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say so.
Who is the lucky little lady? Someone from the neighborhood?
No, she worked in Larry's office. A brilliant girl. Maybe a little too brilliant.
Oh, how do you mean?
Well, you know, Mr. Stearns, these bright ones, sometimes they aren't too stable.
Oh, flighty, eh?
No, not flighty. Moody. She has dark moods. I don't know.
Well, now, that could be hard on Larry.
Oh, don't you worry about Larry. You can always count on me to cheer him up.
That's right, Mrs. Ryder. He's a lucky boy to have you for a mother.
And there were others. Old Mrs. Martin, who lived by her telephone. And my cleaning woman and the corner druggist. I let them all know that Larry's marriage was not as happy as it could be. And I tried, successfully I believe, to plant this thought with Larry when he came to visit me. I insisted he come alone. I would not receive that woman in my home. You look a little peaked, dear. Are you getting enough to eat?
Of course, Laurie.
Your wife has learned to cook, then.
She does all right.
But not as well as I do.
She's learning.
Well, I hope so, before you waste away. Are you happy, darling? Truly happy?
Yes, I'm happy.
You don't seem to be. What is it, dear? What's worrying you?
Nothing.
Come on now, tell Laurie.
I promised not to.
We've always been honest with each other, dear, and that must never change. Now, what's troubling you?
All right, then. Roberta's going to have a baby.
Oh. Yours?
Why, yes.
But you aren't sure.
Oh, no, but...
You can't be sure, can you? Well, how could you be sure? Now you can be sure of only one thing. This is why she wanted to marry you so desperately. This is why she took you away from me. Don't you see? Can't you see that now?
Well, I
won't permit it. I won't let it happen. I won't have you the father of another man's child.
But you're only jumping to conclusions.
Oh, no. I'm certain I know her kind of woman. I told you, Larry. Over and over I told you this marriage was wrong. Perhaps now you realize once more that Laurie knows what is best for you.
But what can I do?
There's only one thing to do now. Kill her. Of course, it took a lot of persuasion, but I know just how to persuade Larry. And in the end, he agreed with me. And it will be so simple and so safe. Everyone knows she's a creature of dark moods. Everyone knows that for days on end she doesn't speak to you. That she goes for long automobile rides by herself at night.
How does everybody know this?
I've told them.
But it isn't true.
Well, they think it is.
You've been planning this for a long time, haven't you?
Since the day you got married.
You're a wicked woman.
You belong to me, and I belong to you. You know that, don't you, Larry?
Yes, God help me, I know it.
Now, you know what you're to do. Turn out on the coast route, 1.5 miles below Gull Point. There's no guardrail. You let the car roll and jump just before it goes over. It's more than 100 feet to the surface.
Why do I have to do it? I don't hate her. You do. Why don't you take that gun you keep in your desk and just shoot
And
her?
have the gun traced in the fingerprints? Use your head, Larry. This way it'll look like an accident. A brake failure. An accident that occurred when poor Roberta was on one of her moody midnight rides.
Thought of everything, haven't you?
Yes, my dear, because I'm thinking of us. Now, I'll follow you. I'll be waiting up the road to drive you home. When will you do it? Tonight?
Might as well. The sooner the better.
That's right. That's right, my dear. The sooner the better.
What are you stopping for, Larry?
This turnout. Let's look at the view a minute.
Oh. It is lovely, isn't it? Sliver of the moon across the water. Let's walk out to the edge. Come on, we can get a bit.
Wait, we're not supposed to?
Supposed to what?
Nothing.
Are you happy with me?
Why, sure. Sure I am. What makes you ask?
You seem so strange all evening. You saw your mother today, didn't you?
Yes.
I can always tell when you've seen her. You come back to me different.
I'm sorry.
What terrible things has she told you about me this time?
Oh, nothing.
Don't tell me. I don't want to hear. I don't care. So long as I have you. It's lovely out here. Be careful. Don't get too close to the edge.
Oh, it's perfectly safe. Listen. You can hear the surf.
And see it way down there foaming in the moonlight. So beautiful. Tell me, Larry. Tell me.
Tell you what?
Tell me you love me.
Why me? Why do you want me to love you? There must have been other men, older, stronger men who loved you. I'm just... You've said it 100 times. Just a mama's boy.
Well, maybe that's why I love you. Maybe that's what I need. A man I can care for and look after, protect. There are women like that, you know.
Like my mother?
No, not like her. Women like me. I'm no shrinking violet. I'm capable and I'm smart. I'm the equal of any man, so I scare men. But I don't scare you. Do I, Tom?
No, Roberta. You've never scared me.
And I never will. I'll take care of you and our baby.
Our baby? Is it ours, Roberta?
Larry. What a dreadful thing to say.
Is it?
Who gave you the idea that it wasn't?
Well...
What a filthy, vile woman your mother is. She will stop at nothing.
That's right, Roberta.
Mother, you're supposed to be waiting in the car.
You're supposed to be doing what I told you.
Get your hands off me.
I warned you.
Let go of me. Help me, Larry.
Help me. Push her.
Larry, not you.
Go on. Go on, take your baby with you and leave me mine.
God, Mother. What have we done?
Don't call me Mother.
It only took a moment to release the handbrake on the car, send it rolling over the cliff, and Roberta's accidental death was complete. It was all over and done with, and Larry and I were back together again. We slept late the next morning, and we were dallying over our brunch in the sun-filled breakfast room, still in our robes and slippers when the doorbell rang. Yes?
Mrs. Ryder?
Yes.
Want to talk to you, ma'am.
Well, I'm afraid I'm not dressed.
It's all right. We don't mind.
Oh, just a minute. You can't come in here like this. Who are you?
Police?
Police?
Lieutenant Ross, homicide. This is Sergeant Abbott.
Morning, ma'am.
Oh, what is it? What's happened? What do you want?
Just want to ask a few questions.
You have any idea where your son is, Mrs. Ryder?
Yes, he's in the other room.
Well, he'd better hear this, too. Will you call him?
Larry?
Yes?
Some men are here. They want to talk to you. This is the police.
Police? What do they want with me?
Mr. Ryder, when did you see your wife last?
Last night at dinner. Why?
She's dead, Mr. Ryder.
Dead?
Oh, Larry, how horrible.
Her body was found on the rocks near Gold Point this morning. Car went over, too.
Larry, I told you shouldn't let her go out alone on those long rides at night.
She was in the habit of driving alone at night?
Oh, yes, whenever she got into one of her moods.
You weren't home last night, Mr. Ryder?
No, I slept over here.
Have an argument with your wife last night?
No.
Was she in one of her moods last night?
You might say so.
Where were you last night, Mrs. Ryder?
I was right here with Larry. We watched TV until quite late.
You sure of that?
I can prove it. Larry was with me. Just what are you driving at?
This. You recognize it, Mr. Ryder?
It's a wristwatch. I gave it to her for a wedding present.
Do you know there was a message engraved on the back of this watch?
No.
The letters are so tiny it looks like a design until you put it under a magnifying glass.
Message? What does it say?
It says, I have only one enemy in the world. If anything should happen to me, my mother-in-law will be the cause.
Oh, that vicious witch. Why can't she let us alone? Why does she have to come back from the dead to haunt us?
No, Mother.
Don't you call me Mother.
All right. I won't call you Mother. The word is too good for you. You're the vicious witch. You're the one who's evil. Why couldn't you have left us alone? Why couldn't you have let Roberta and me live our own lives?
Oh, my heart. I'm going to faint.
Go ahead, faint. Drop dead.
I'm smelling salt. To the desk here.
Gentlemen, the inscription on my wife's watch is correct. My mother murdered her.
All right, up with your hands, all of you.
Drop that gun, Mrs. Ryder.
Oh, no, and don't either of you.
Put it away, madam. Somebody's liable to get hurt.
Indeed, yes, someone's liable to get killed. But I won't put it away till I hear my son out. Well, Larry, did you have something else to say?
Not much. Only that you killed her, and I hope you hang for it.
This is your last word to your mother?
You haven't been a mother to me ever. Parasite, a leech, a selfish, aging hag, but no mother.
That's all you have to say.
That's all.
And this is my reply, dear Larry.
Hey, grab her.
Let me go.
I got the gun.
Let me go.
I got her.
Let me have it. Let me use it on myself. I must join Larry. We've always been together, Larry and I. You mustn't separate us now. You don't realize how it is with us. Laurie and Larry, such a lovely couple, people always say.
Suspense, in which Miss Agnes Moorehead starred in Don't Call Me Mother, written, produced, and directed by William N. Robeson. In a moment, the names of our supporting players and a word about next week's story of Suspense.
The more things change, the more impressive is the unwavering reputation CBS News enjoys for good judgment, accuracy, and speed. That fine reputation has been earned through the dedicated efforts of men like Edward R. Murrow of CBS News. Since the days of the Second World War, Mr. Murrow's been on the job, helping to keep Americans informed. More and more radio listeners are turning to Edward R. Murrow for a better understanding of our changing world. Every Monday through Friday evening, follow the course of history with Edward R. Murrow with the news. Our World News Roundup, heard daily on most of these same stations, is another reason why CBS News is respected everywhere. Every morning, our World News Roundup takes you where important things are happening for eyewitness reports by experts. Tomorrow on CBS Radio, you have a date with history on the World News Roundup.
Supporting Agnes Moorehead in Don't Call Me Mother were Kathy Lewis, James McCallion, Barney Phillips, and Norm Alden. Listen. Listen again next week when we return with Mr. Dick Crenna in Night on Red Mountain. Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense. Tonight, Miss Miller stars on the CBS Radio Network.